Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome on back to Anime's Arcade. Hello, Gorgonum. Hello, Nicto. AP classes, very nice, very nice. I could have taken some. I have not. But hello.
There's always time. You can always take AP classes.
There's always, you can always do school. But hello, everybody. I have my brother Sola visiting me from where he lives.
What's up, dudes?
I wanted to show him what I do here. How is everybody? I hope you all have had a lovely Christmas or whatever, if you guys, depending on what you guys celebrate and whatnot. But yeah, so
Where the brother?
where the brother
he
at? So
Where him
Sola, have you seen speedruns before? Like,
I've seen speedruns. I've watched you do a couple speedruns. I've done I haven't done any of them, but like I've seen a bunch of videos and stuff like that. And I've seen you do some speedruns of like the Mario N64 and things like that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I did that. We had that 16-star thing that, funny enough, that one specifically has not been finished.
Yeah.
Like, the tournament is still just in limbo.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well.
Not gonna lie, I'm just a kind of a filthy casual.
Nothing wrong with that.
Stuff, but yeah, no.
Celebrate Mario, Miss Nice. What games have I been playing? So as far as streams go, I've been speedrunning Odyssey, Croc Legend of the Jabos, Sunshine here. Oh, dude, Croc is actually really fun to speedrun, not gonna lie.
Oh, I bet.
It's great. And then I have like at least 3 or 4 people when I mention that game, they're like, that game controls like a tank. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? But yeah, a little bit of 64. I'd like to start looking into some more speed games this year, 2023. I've got a bunch lined up, and I already own most of them. But we'll see. We'll see. Been speedrunning. Well, okay, yes.
There's
hey.
2. Yeah, keep him honest.
Hi, Jorda. Hi, Jorda. Oh, Jorda's one of the lovely people who sent me a Christmas card.
Hey!
So
rock
thanks
and roll.
again for that. Look, Gorgonum, hey, speedrunning on CCG and speedrunning for sandbox races definitely counts as speeding Odyssey. So, excuse me. Ultra Kill. Oh, I've heard about Ultra Kill. Actually, I thought about getting a physical copy of it when Limited Run Games was doing that a while back. Of course, I forgot my splits. As usual. Great. Because they're not the right splits, but they're close enough. Click hello, have fun. Thanks, Jorda. You have fun too. Hopefully you have a lovely evening. Give Zeus a pat for me. Hedgehound, hello. How are you? God, those splits look so bad when they're not in the right layout. Oh my gosh. Hoverless. Yes, I still need to rename my Hoverless splits. Dang. All right, cool. So yeah, hope you're doing well, Hedgehound. Merry Crimbus if you celebrate it and all that heckin' jazz.
Yeah. Shout out to Gorgonum who celebrates Mario Miss.
Absolutely.
I see you.
Absolutely. Gorgonum is the world record holder in multiple categories in Odyssey.
Hell yeah, brother.
He is pretty great. I appreciate him. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start a run because there is definitely still a cutscene that we do have to sit through that's like at least 2 or 3 minutes. So yeah, but let's start this. So we're doing Sunshine but without the hover nozzle in 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
Did you recognize the sound from the splits there?
For the which one?
Oh, when I started the splits?
I'm gonna be honest, I was not paying attention.
That's fair. That's okay.
I'm way too wicked ADD for this.
That's valid, my dude. That's valid.
Gross.
There's a lot to look at and pay attention to, not gonna lie.
MBD.
Move this down just a smidge more. That's good. Like, I want to hear it, but I don't want, I don't need the microphone picking it up. But no, yeah, if you guys, Gorgonum, do the thing. If you guys don't follow Gorgonum already, you definitely should. Very, very top tier Mario Odyssey speedrunner. Great guy. Helps me out a lot. Cutscenes, 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 cutscenes.
I love how they animated her. She's just got that like vacant expression.
She
She
does.
just looks stoned out of her mind the entire time. Like, look at that. She's on a mushroom trip right now.
I mean, you're not wrong. She actually is on a mushroom trip at the
Fair
moment, on
enough.
vacation.
Very bad feeling about that.
Well,
Oh, no.
that's bad.
Why would you do
Stop.
this? Why would you do this?
Oh, that was so slow. Ah. Okay. It's really funny. There's like, it's like a minute 20 seconds cutscene, and then like 10 seconds of gameplay, and then another minute of cutscene, and then you get your
I love
first
the
shine
gratuitous-
sprite.
I love the gratuitous crotch shot that they just did.
You know what? Somebody actually mentioned that like 2 streams ago.
It's really
No
weird
joke.
that that's what they focus on.
I don't know. I guess like, you know, he's scanning the body. Oh yeah, one of my friends like could not help herself last year or whatever, and just ended up making the Discord for me, and I'm like, all right, well thanks.
Hey,
And
man,
it's
that's
pretty good
the-
Discord.
I'd say it's the way of the future, but
Eh.
I don't know. Everybody's got their own thing. Discord's pretty cool.
Discord is pretty cool. Slack is like a work thing, but it's still like practically like Discord at this point.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I know. Like at my work, we have most of the time people are using Slack. Some people use Discord. We also have Signal chats that people put together. I usually just end up using like Facebook to message people. It's ridiculous. It's like pick one thing.
It's like, please, can we just
Yeah.
centralize this?
Yeah. It's the worst.
There we go. We say no.
All right, let's go. Let's
Ah.
go.
There we go. Interesting fact. So there's multiple of these dudes all over the game,
Yeah.
but this is the only one that you can continuously squirt the water on and they won't react to it until they open their mouth. Ah, that's fine. It's really hard to actually get into the center there before everything disappears.
Yeah.
But whatever. Whatever.
So what's the record? Like, what are you shooting for? Like, what's your goal today?
my goal overall is 2 hours and 30 minutes,
Okay.
which at the moment I am currently at 2 hours and 38 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm actually pretty close to my goal.
So like, are you on track right now, or a little bit
according
behind?
according to that, I'm minus 0.0. At least from that split.
So you're like on track.
I'm on track, which honestly, I guess I had some messy movement on that run as well in the
Yeah.
beginning. So, because this was also not that good.
You're good. You're good.
But yeah, so the way that I have the split set up, because it's actually really different from how most people have it set up, but I like it better, is the bottom right tells me what I got during my PB run. So like
Yeah.
that's my PB time
Yep.
for that specific split.
Yeah.
And then on the left is what my time is in regards to the entire run.
Yeah.
Am I ahead? Am I behind?
Yeah.
Am I ahead but I lost time? Am I,
mean, that's really
behind but I
neat, yeah.
gained time? It's really cool. But what most people will do is instead of individual times, like
Yeah.
they'll just have like the time of the whole run.
Okay.
So like Bianco 2, so if you did like the, say, run that up to 9 minutes plus 3.5 minutes, Bianco 2 would say 12.5 minutes instead of 8:59.
Okay.
But I kind of like that better because this lets me like keep more track of how I am on that individual split, whether I'm going to do better, whether or not I'm losing time. Excuse me.
My apologies in advance to all of you who didn't realize that you were signing up for a just like in-depth mansplaining explanation of how
Things that
Homeboy
you might
here,
always know.
does his streaming.
Yeah. Bum, 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 bum.
And
Yeah.
you can't skip this, right?
No, this is completely
Oh, my
unskippable. The only way you can skip it is if you are running on an emulator or you have a GameCube that has a hacked save file.
It's been a long ass time since I played this game, and I remember this whole like diatribe.
Right?
And it's so obnoxious, and I remember it took forever.
It just takes so long. It takes so long. Now, and if you have a race file, the hacked file, you can skip all this and just start in Delfino Plaza with one shine.
Yeah.
But I'm playing on my Switch, So I don't have that luxury. And that's okay. It allows for time to, like, chill for a bit, like, especially if you, like, just lost the run to something stupid and you have to reset and
To
start
give you a little
again.
time to, like,
Get a little bit of downtime.
get your mind back in the game.
Yeah, not
Just
get
like,
enraged if that's your
You know,
thing.
High School Musical.
Yeah, true, true.
No?
No, I know what you mean. So I
Just
just
embarrassing myself in front of you.
Okay, to be fair though, that was a really catchy song. I'm not gonna lie. It was genuinely really catchy.
Hey man, you don't have to make me feel better. I know who I am. Oh man.
Bum. Okay, we're almost at gameplay.
Missed the mess, pal.
You know what's funny? There's a thing in this game that the camera will do is it'll, like, if it's behind something or inside something,
Yeah.
it'll turn into, like, more of a circle camera and then have, like, blue
Yeah.
around it. So when I was younger, I thought that was the guys watching me, because, you know, at that line there they say we'll be watching you. That's what I thought it was. I was like, oh man, they really are watching me. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Don't you dare. Nice.
Gotcha.
Wow, good timing.
Right? That was perfect. You got 2 of them right to the face. Giggity.
Bruh.
Sorry, this is PG-13. Right?
It is PG-13. Now, to be fair, what you said is technically PG-13. So. Bonk. And then, like, one more cutscene. And then we'll be out of the beginning.
Mostly, yeah, I was gonna say it's mostly
cutscenes.
smooth sailing after that, right? Mostly.
Well, mostly, yeah, mostly. Not as many cutscenes, that's for sure.
Oh, that looks so cool. For a second there, it looked like he was holding a sword instead of a paintbrush.
Oh, dude, that'd be pretty
That'd
rad.
have been amazing.
That would be pretty rad. Swords are cool. I like them.
Oh man, got her.
Got him. Did you? Okay, so this is completely random and not related. Oh my god, to anything here. There's this category that it's not like quite an official category because not many people actually run it.
Yeah.
But it's called max percent pre-peach. There are these weird states in the game. Oh
Yeah.
crap.
Oh no.
This is annoying. There's this weird state in the game where you can do these things
Yeah.
before Princess Peach gets captured.
Yeah. So you try and do as like much as you possibly
Yeah.
can before she's been kidnapped.
So it's called max percent pre-peach, and you can actually get like 25 shine sprites
Wow.
before this even happens.
But just like avoiding this whole interaction.
Yeah, it's actually really wild. However, 2 of the shines, depending on what you do, can take like way too long to do.
Okay.
It's a really odd speed run. Not enough people have actually done it for it to be on the
Interesting.
leaderboards, but it's just really fascinating that it exists. That sucks. Whatever. Nope. Did that a little too early. Oh well.
You got a boo bounce back.
Yeah. Ow. Okay, game. Now, granted, that is mostly just me screwing up, but, hey, dude, if you could not go that direction, that's very far away from where I want you to be. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Thank you. Notice me. There we go.
Notice me, senpai.
Okay, that should be fine. Camera, please. Okay. No. Okay. Jump. There we go. Nice.
What?
And that's how you get up here without the hover nozzle.
What?
It's a really weird property that they decided
my
to give those
goodness.
water bugs. But
Okay.
yeah.
Again, from one casual to a community of people who love watching this sort of thing and know all of these like tips and tricks. Like, it boggles my mind the stuff that you guys figure out.
It's honestly insane. Some of these things.
It's crazy.
It's like, how do people figure this out? How do they just figure this stuff out in the first place?
Yeah.
Because like this one I can understand. They're wondering, Because, like, oh, there's a second Shine Sprite, and it's right above Petey. So technically, you know, maybe you can get this without having to get the first one. If you can just somehow figure out how to get over here. And then people are like, all right, let's do it. Redo, hello. Hope you're doing well. So,
I love his little belly button.
it's, honestly, it's great. Like, this character, just very well designed.
It's just kind of like, come on, get back in there.
Yeah, basically. It's like, man, slap my face.
Get it together. Come on, man.
You got this. I trust the counting on you. Sander, yo, what up, dude?
Just casual waterboarding.
Basically, let's be honest. Okay, camera, trying to remember. Should be like, I think here-ish?
There he goes.
I think it's here. Oh, nope, I was off anyway. I jumped a little early
Oh, no,
and I
you
was
were-
off. I was close, but
You were close.
there you go.
Nice.
Lost time, sad.
Dang.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, is this comparing to the right thing? Hold up. Yeah, I got my brother with you, yeah.
You're asking the wrong thing.
Yeah,
my dude.
yeah, I know.
Hey, yo, what's up?
I need to jump back
This
in.
is Z-Funk
Z-Funk Diggity.
Diggity. Yeah. What up, Z-Funk Diggity?
Oh, there we go. That's PB. Yeah, how did I lose time? Weird. I didn't think it was that bad. Something might be messed up as far as the times go, but hopefully not. Dang it, come on.
You got a bunch of little stuff like that so far. You know, that adds up.
It do. Now, it doesn't... Oh my gosh! It's not going to add up as much as, like, not having the movement that you need.
Yeah.
Because what is it? It's, well, somebody said it's movement saves minutes, or tricks save time, movement saves minutes. Or tricks save seconds, movement save minutes. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Of course, in this particular speedrun, you do have to rely on a bunch of tricks.
Oh, dude.
That
was pretty dope.
That was pretty cool, right?
How rude. You
Dude.
stole your stuff.
Okay, to be fair though, this is probably one of the coolest runs to do.
I love the,
like this is.
I don't know what this music would be considered. It's
Platforms of Plenty.
Yeah.
It's like acapella. This is one of my favorite
it's
Mario
like
themes.
Smooth jazz acapella. Like, it reminds me of this place when I was out in Japan that I used to go to all the time. It was amazing.
Oh, I split like super early.
But it was just like chill music like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Dude, no, yeah. Platforms of Plenty is hands down one of my most favorite tunes in this game.
Yeah.
And even in the Mario franchise, if I'm being honest, it's hands down one of my most favorite themes. Okay. So there's a trick here that can like save you a couple of seconds, but it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
So what it is, so you have to hit this guy like 6 times. 3 times, goes down, comes back up. Hit him again, and then hit him 3 more times. During the last hit, if you can go fast enough back to that level that I just came out of, you can get the game to start warping Mario into that level while it plays a cutscene. No, not Toad again! Every time I bounce on Toad's head. God dang it.
No!
It's okay.
That's alright, that's alright.
Yeah, it's not, the biggest
No!
thing.
I didn't realize it was going to teleport you all the way back.
That's the thing.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. And like...
The fortune teller is not your friend today.
Nope. Not this time. But yeah, that's the thing. So if you can get there and not bounce on Toad's head, because I feel like every time I lose it, it's because I bounce on Toad's head.
Oh my goodness.
It like, you know, you'll just immediately warp into the level. Okay, that time it actually worked, but I didn't prep my fingers. Oh well. That's fine.
Okay.
Get me on here. There we go. Take me up. Yoink.
And that's a 1, folks, for all you counting at home.
Please, don't. Mario.
That's a 2.
Sure do.
3 and 4.
There's technically a way, if you get a high enough bounce off that, you can like do a dive jump up to this platform.
Oh no.
But I have not been able to make that consistent at all. This way, please. Thanks. Got it.
Nice. So, what made you want to do the hover free over any of the other ones that you could possibly be doing right now?
Like, as opposed to just like a normal,
Yeah, just a normal
speed
speed
run.
run or anything like that. Like, what's the is there like particular prestige associated with it, or like?
It's fascinating to me that you can just like play this game and not use the hover nozzle. It's wild. I do actually have a reason in the future. I have a goal, a thing that I'm working towards. Nice.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's really nice, actually.
Minus a minute 30.
Why was my PB so bad? What did I
Okay.
screw up so bad?
Is this your PB though?
Yeah, this is my PB. What did I screw
It
up
says your
so
PB is 4 hours 10, and your
No,
best
4 minutes.
is 350.
4 minutes.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a minute.
Okay.
Hence, because it's a decimal, so milliseconds.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't work here, guys. I'm just a guest.
He's great, though.
Oh, you too sweet.
So yeah, so I just like the whole concept
There
of
you
it is just
go.
really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I already ran a challenge category like this for Super Mario Odyssey called Minimum Captures, which is like you get through the game with only like 3 captures total. And captures are like the big thing. You know, whenever they make like a new Mario 3D game, there's always like a big thing. So like, you know, Super Mario Sunshine, you have Flood. Galaxy has a weird control system with motion controls.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. And in Odyssey, that thing is captures. So the fact that you can beat the game and only have to capture it like 3 times is what is just
Got this.
super fascinating to me. There we go. I even took out a guy with me too. Let's go. So I was looking into Hoverless because it's very similar in concept to the Odyssey
So
challenge.
that's kind of just how you got your start on it.
Yeah, I've been like looking at it, and then I also I've got something planned for the future. Once I hit my 230, I'm gonna be moving to a different game, a different category. But I've got some fun ideas in store. Oh, whoops, almost missed that.
Got him. Gotta get in that.
I gotta get behind him. Yeah, didn't do that fast enough. There we go. Please do not jump on me. Dang it.
Oh no.
That's fine.
Hit the wall.
Can't see. Thanks, game. Now I can. Please don't.
Gonna get
Okay,
you
we're
again.
fine.
He got you again.
He got me again, but I got
him. You got him. You got him. You got him.
Too early.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, bush, of course.
Wow. How rude. Come on, Petey Piranha. You're supposed to be helping us out. Or something. I don't know.
You know, he's just vibing, I guess. Okay, where'd he go? That's what I thought. I thought he might go that way. That sucks.
Okay. Is that like a bad direction? Or?
Yeah, I can't really go over there.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you need the hover.
Well, and just in general, it's not really a good cycle. Get down. Thank you.
Oh, get that guy. He's going to jump on you.
There we go. From here. Just kind of go, right behind him, turn him around. Water. This is a really weird property Petey has. If you like stand close enough to him, he'll just turn around and face you.
Huh.
Which is really nice, because then he starts spraying water immediately and you can just hit him in the face.
Can you get him right there while he's right there?
Nah, he's got to get back up. Oop. Ooh, that's
want
super
to.
nice.
Yeah.
That's really
Right there,
nice.
right on your
Okay.
head.
And just sit right here. Turn yourself around. Yeah.
brother.
Oh, yes, it's good.
Hell yeah, brother!
Okay,
Got him.
and it's about... This one is honestly really hard to tell where it spawns. There's not very many good landmarks for this one. Yeah, I'm a little off. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, like,
that's all right. That's all right. It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. Yep. Not bad.
It's not bad. Minute 30.
Yeah, saved some time. Was actually about 10, 11 seconds off of my goal. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. All right, come over here. Go. We're gonna save the rest of these shines for later, just because it lines up well. So we're gonna come over here and do this. And yoink. Yep, a little higher. Thanks. There we go. I got another one of these.
While you're working on this, because I
Yeah.
know you can multitask, which is a lot better than I can do. What was the sound? Since you asked, it's obviously something that I would know. I just didn't happen to catch it. What was it?
Oh, it's from Kingdom Hearts when you start a new game, and it plays that. It has that little Jeep sound that it plays.
Oh man, I'm sad I missed it. It's one of my favorite games.
I love Kingdom Hearts. I would honestly I'm kind of interested to get into some Kingdom Hearts 2 speedruns, but there's like a lot.
I feel like there's like no
so
real
much.
way to do a speed run of Kingdom Hearts. You know what I mean? Where it's just like
2
there's
hours,
so much.
2 hours and 14 minutes.
2 hours and 14 minutes.
And
Oh
that's
my
and that's
goodness.
skipping the gummy ship stuff. Without the or with the gummy ships,
Yeah.
it's like 2:45.
Okay. Wow. Still.
That's still really fast. Yeah, it's
still
insane.
really good.
It's a very combat oriented speed run.
Okay. So you're just like smashing, grabbing through everything, or like you're avoiding?
You're only picking the fights that you need to do. If you need to get experience, you'll kill like a couple extra enemies. Really making sure that you have your Valor form leveled up X amount, getting your Wisdom form leveled up to about, so you have like quick run too. So I guess really only leveling that up once. Knowing when to switch between forms, knowing when to use like limit commands. There's so much. There's so much to learn for it. And it's like, I would like to dive into it, but I need to have the time to like, look into it. Because there's so much. Okay.
Oh no.
There's a lot that I would need to learn for Kingdom Hearts 2. However, I've been watching somebody, and he's a really nice guy. He's a really good speedrunner too. I think he's like 4th on the leaderboard right now.
Yeah.
Love watching his streams. It's pretty good.
Nice. It's almost 2 minutes, man.
Yeah, apparently the beginning of my PB was absolute trash.
Wow.
That's funny.
Well, hey, look at that. You're doing good then.
Yeah, doing good for now. Sick. But yeah, there's just a lot that I need to learn, and I've got a guy that I watch almost probably every day he's on. I'll usually tune in because it's Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
This is great. I love Kingdom Hearts, and also the speedrun is
so good.
really fascinating to watch.
Who wouldn't want to beat the snot out of a bunch of bad guys with Disney characters?
And a giant,
Just a big ass key.
One of my favorite things to say about Kingdom Hearts is that it's a violent Disney game.
Yeah.
And it's like there's not that many games out there that you can say that.
Yeah. I read a thing online with somebody like, I think it was on like Twitter or Tumblr or something like that. Or I guess Tumblr doesn't exist anymore.
No, they do. Tumblr has definitely seen a huge influx.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. But so like it was one of those things where they're talking about,
Ooh, nice.
oh, Kingdom Hearts is just like a D&D quest gone wrong. Where like,
oh wait, I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, where they're like, oh yeah, I want to play Donald Duck, and I want to like, have all these crazy spells, and I want to be goofy, but I want to beat the crap out of somebody with a shield. And then it's like the other three. Yes. Nice.
Really good, actually.
The other three people have like well-connected backstories, and they're like fully integrated into the plot, and they're taking it seriously. And then you just have those two goobers, and then you have the one player who just shows up every now and then.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
and
cute,
it's like-
basically.
Just ridiculously min-maxed, and that would be like Mickey's character.
Oh yeah, dude, Mickey is just very overpowered. You know what's interesting? So when you die in Kingdom Hearts, sometimes I don't know if I think it still does it on beginner as well.
Yeah,
Not 100%.
It's like a 30% chance.
Yeah,
Or something like
so
that. Right? I
like
don't know.
King Mickey will just like, it'll say don't give, or you'll say I won't give up, and then it'll just like switch to Mickey, and then you'll play as Mickey and like
He's just
do a lot of
ridiculously
damage.
OP,
Yeah, he has Pearl, like one of the strongest. Oh my god, one of the like strongest magic spells in the game and just kind of.
Pearl?
Yeah, Pearl, and in like the it's so powerful.
Oh my goodness.
Game, please. Thank you.
You got this.
I've
You got
already
this.
lost so much time.
I know. You got this stuff.
Meow.
You got it. You got it.
But yeah, in
at that
critical, when you do critical speedruns, you like use King Mickey a lot
Yeah.
because you can. It's so much faster
Oh, I
in
bet.
certain areas. Like to take out the Cerberus fight, it's so much faster because Pearl does a lot of damage and it also just auto locks on to the target.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
dude,
really
you know,
interesting.
I did not particularly enjoy that aspect of like Kingdom Hearts 3 actually.
Yeah.
Like where they had all of the like ride based
Oh yeah.
stuff where it's just like it wasn't that it made it like way too easy, and I wasn't playing on like I was playing on hard difficulty. I wasn't doing like proud or anything.
Well, I mean, they didn't have
Still
critical
minute 30,
yet.
Still minute 30.
Yeah, it's still good.
It's
They
good,
didn't have
it's good.
critical yet until you beat the game.
Yeah, yeah,
But then
yeah,
they
yeah,
fixed that later.
But like, you know,
Proud
going
is
through,
free.
it wasn't like I was playing on the easy mode or anything like that. But anytime you had those like ride-based games,
Yeah, little
or
ride
like,
attacks.
the attacks,
Yeah.
like, it just like killed everything. It was just like way too overpowered, and I
That's
ended up
fair.
disabling it.
That's
So,
fair.
and
Yeah.
that wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed. I know hot takes from the casual gamer brother.
There's a lot of people who have so many mixed opinions about KH3, even KH3 KH fans. So can't blame you there.
Oh yeah. Oh man, so angry.
Yep. Ooh, give me a nice spot. That's great. Thank you. Oh god, stupid hitboxes on the feet. Okay, he's gonna do a circle. Honestly, this guy's really hard to time the hit. Oh, he didn't do the circle. Well, so much for that.
Oofta.
Well, that's too late.
Come back, buddy.
Ew,
He's so angry.
he's very angry. The thing that I find interesting about this boss, not that he's angry, but the fact that you basically, that was way too early, but basically the fact that you basically cut him up into pieces off of the like sand egg up there, and then here he is. He's just a full specimen again. Huh?
Yeah.
Like, okay, game, sure.
Come on, boo boo. You got this. Why are you running away? I thought you were mad.
Oh my god, what? I don't think I've actually had him do that yet either.
That's really obnoxious.
What the heck? Dude, get your butt over here. Is he okay?
Oh, that's not good.
What?
He's coming.
Oh,
he's
there
coming.
we
He's
go.
coming. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh my god, please. I am
No!
positioned in like the worst place possible.
That was.
I didn't even know you could be that.
brutal.
Wow.
Oh, no. All right, here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Gonna play this a little
Hit it,
bit.
baby. Hit it, baby.
There we go. Don't go
Oh,
too
yeah.
far.
Oh yeah. Oh no, he went too far.
Nah, he's
Oh
fine.
no, he went too far.
Oh my god. He
Oh
almost,
no, he went too far.
He almost did. Oh no, one more.
Nope, one more.
Alright,
Ah.
got
him.
Get out of the water.
Gotta get out of the water. Go, 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 go,
Honestly, for a game that has a lot to deal with water, the swimming in this game is
It's
so slow.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh man, I like that you're like mid jump,
Yeah.
like caught you mid leap. Oh man, you lost some time on that.
That was ridiculous. Why? What was he doing? Why did he do that? I've literally never seen him do that. Nor has I ever seen him do that.
That was wild. He just like straight up ran away from
He
you.
ran away twice.
Hmm.
I don't know why he would do that, but okay. That's fine, I guess. I got 10 save labor, I'm sure. Red coins? No, sandbird. Well, technically yes, red coins, but specifically the sandbird. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, alright, whatever. That's fine. It's not what I wanted. No! Hello, talk to the nice man. Thank you. Don't bounce on his head.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the faster ways to get up here. Here we go. Nice.
Yeah.
Camera time. Got it.
That's what I like to see. I'm surprised this isn't like.
Oh, it's fully skippable.
No. I was gonna say like, is there a what you call it?
Hmm.
Like a Smash Bros.
Oh, of this stage?
of this.
Oh, you've got a point. Everybody, that's actually
I feel like it would
really
be
good question.
I feel like it would be really popular and like super difficult to stay on.
Yeah. Like, it probably wouldn't be as bad as Poker Floats. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't like that stage.
No, that one's kind
But
of brutal.
I think this would actually be a really cool stage. I agree. Move this camera really quick. Just kind of... Excuse me. Cloud, if you could, like, not be in my way, thanks.
Yeah, see, like it rotates, and now you've got like this tiny little ledge to stand on.
That'd be really interesting. That would actually be a really interesting... I should talk to one of my buddies about that.
Yeah. Did they put Sora in like
Smash Bros.
Smash Bros? Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Best DLC. They saved the best for last. It was literally the last person added to the roster.
Woof.
Yeah. This is why most people skip this, because now you just gotta...
Now you're just hanging out.
Yeah. There's like... There's a way to, in like with the hover nozzle, you can skip
Gotta be, yeah.
basically the whole stage and like get the very last shine sprite.
Very good.
You can technically do that with Hoverless as well. The problem is...
It just seems rough.
Every time that I've tried to do it,
Yeah.
I'm just not consistent in any way, and there's no like real good video for it. Most of that time was lost.
Time on that too, yeah.
Yeah, most of that was from bouncing on top of that guy's head instead of talking to him.
Oh man, that's rough.
But like there is a way to do the exact same thing that you do with the hover pack, just like a slightly different setup. But
Yeah.
Every time I've tried to do it, it's just not been consistent. And videos that I've looked up, there's nobody like giving you any words to do it. It's just like a video and like some text of, oh, stand here and to do this and do that. And I'm just like, I have tried those videos. They do not work for me.
Rough. Oh, this guy.
This guy.
Oh, I forgot about this guy.
This guy, yeah. This guy.
What a jerk. I think they put him in a wife beater. Like,
I just want to know, why is he dressed like a piano?
like what?
A pianta. The guys who live here, they're called piantas.
Oh. I mean, yeah, he's clearly not.
Yeah, so why is he dressed up this one?
He's trying to fit in, man. I don't know.
Yes. Oh, something that I found while speedrunning this.
Yeah.
Look at the flag. If you look at it from this side, it just looks like a straw.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what...
No, yeah, I was 100% thinking that. I was like, it looks like a soda straw, like from...
Ah, get off. Yeah, like, I just noticed that, and it's like...
from McDonald's back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
And like every flag where you have to race this guy, they just have that random red stripe on the side for some reason.
It's very strange. Oh no! Oh no! You gotta catch up.
I'm trying. Look, I'm still ahead by 43 seconds.
You got this.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Do you remember the first time we ever saw this game? Because it was like,
yes.
I don't remember if it was
cousin
when our
had it.
cousin had it.
Our cousin
Yeah,
had
I
it.
was gonna say.
The first time I ever like actually put any amount of time into this was I had gone to the dentist and gotten 2 caps and 3 fillings. So, and I was like so out of it.
We had that dentist that had like the
GameCube.
video games and
Yeah.
everything, because I remember I went one time and they had like the new Spider-Man game, and I thought it was like the
that's so
coolest
good.
thing ever. And looking back on it, it was like, wow, this is kind of hot garbage.
Yeah. So, you know, I didn't go to school that day because I'm obviously out of it.
Yeah.
And went to Grandma's house, and our cousin had his GameCube over there.
Yeah.
And Sunshine, so I just played Sunshine. This is not gonna go well. He's gonna go into the wall.
He went into the wall.
Unless... No, okay.
Nope. He gone.
Big sad. So we're definitely gonna lose some time.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like he'll come back. He'll come out of the wall.
Listen, I've got no context for this, so like I can't say anything. With,
that's fair. No, I am actually doing
any
this
amount
a
of
little
authority,
slow,
but
a little slowly for sure.
it's all right. It's all right. You catch it up. You catch it
Like
up.
I said, swimming in this game is just really
Just
bad.
brutal.
It's really bad.
Okay.
Don't know why they made it
Is that
so
one
slow.
gonna? Oh no, that one's gonna go in the raw too.
Yeah, they
Oh,
do that.
no.
Now we're gonna have to go for this one over here. Oh, I see you. I see you.
There
Come
you
here.
go.
Come here. Like the main problem is when
Come
you
on,
go
come on.
when you go
No,
down.
come on.
When you go
Get out there.
down, you don't get any speed. You get 0 speed when you're going down, and only when you're
At
going
least these
up.
guys are heading like directly towards you.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay, where's number 8? Where's 8?
It
Where's
should
8?
be over here.
Come on.
Oh my god, wait, where is it?
Oh no. Oh no.
I should. Oh yeah. Which one did I miss? That one. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, as you can see, I got a very, very quick one
Wow.
during my PB. So
Wow.
the red coins were incredibly nice to me.
Yeah, but this like.
Oh yeah. That's fine. Could be worse. But that is pretty bad.
8 seconds.
Might have been another early split. I don't know. It's okay. Also, I think our sandwiches are here.
Oh, you think so?
Oh yeah, I heard the door close.
You heard the door close. All right, I'll tell you what. All right, all you party people, I'm gonna go see if our food is here really quick. I will be right back.
Yeah.
Keep rocking it.
I bet. Ah, crap. Oh, no. This is really, really bad. Please. Die! Die! Oh my god. Okay, actually that wasn't too horrible, but Shadow Mario is the worst. Nice. Down
Alright,
to 1
friends.
second ahead.
Friends, Roman countrymen, Romans.
At least
Roman,
we're done though.
Romans.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we got
We
a
are
cutscene
back.
coming up.
With our lunch for today.
Let's
Wherever
go.
the camera is. There you go.
Yeah.
If you guys are ever
In this area.
in this area, highly recommend getting the pepper steak sandwiches.
They're so good.
They are delightful. Oh, sweet. This one has no tomato.
They both have no tomato.
They have no tomato.
Yeah. If they are done properly, they both have no tomato.
Dogs and things coming. Hold on.
Hello, dogs. Hello.
Hi, those are so yummy.
Right? Aren't they good? Aren't they so good? I don't care. It's fine.
Did you fill up my hot chocolate again? There's more in the cup.
Sweet.
Did you, Ben?
Nope.
That just seemed really weird. Anyhow, enjoy streaming.
There you go. Camera's right there if you want to say hi.
Oh, you have to like.
You have to
pull
lean
your
in.
head
I will
over
see
it.
You enjoy your camera.
Sorry, that's my wife.
Woo.
She's very enthusiastic.
I agree. Thanks. Boink.
These are both no tomato if you want one.
Oh yeah. Well, of course I want one.
Well, I just don't, you know, I don't want to, I really want to eat the sandwich, but I don't want to produce a sonically displeasing or uncomfortable situation for your viewers.
Should be okay.
I'll just sit like really far away from the microphone.
Right.
Just munch on my sandwich.
I can, man.
I'm so excited.
So normally
You got
there's-
this. I'm gonna be over here, like 6 feet away, supporting you.
Yeah. Normally there's this really long cutscene you have to sit through,
Yeah.
but you can just do this. Now you don't have to sit through it. Oh, I won't. Don't worry. Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. The last time I actually did a hoverless run, I got the best time that I have ever gotten on this. It was absolutely insane. I think I missed the first cutscene skip, but I hit every single shot with my rocket. I hit every single shot. which I do not do very often, because that's just how it is. There's one. Hitting 4 shots before in a first cycle is really, really difficult, and I was able to do it. And not only that, but like as it was switching the cutscene for the sprite shine to load, I was like mid-dive, and I jumped right into the shine. It was literally the fastest I've ever done it. Okay, that's 4. Same thing, you gotta do that. Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, what?
I skipped another cutscene. This should make it. This should also make it, so that's dope. Hopefully. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yes!
Yeah!
Oh, fat gold, baby. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that time save.
I went from 1 second to 50 seconds.
Heck yeah, my dude. Oh. Oh. Amazing. I have gotten better at aiming the rockets. That's all I have to say. Hurry up and go in the cannon, Mario.
Gimme.
I gotta eat my sandwich.
Gimme.
Ah,
I got
thanks.
you, boo.
Oh, I have been both of
Look at
us.
this sweet goodness.
Here, just
I'll just hold it on my lap.
yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, we have not had anything as far as a meal all day, and these pepper steaks are literally like the best
I had
sandwiches.
a cup of coffee, some hot cocoa, and like a fistful of the the white cheddar.
I screwed that up so bad. That was my own fault. We're losing time. White cheddar Cheez-Its, which are basically crack.
Yes.
Like it's not a question. They are that good.
And if you disagree, at me in the comments.
Please. Oh, just fast enough. Let's go. Barely fast enough. Oh my god, please. Thank you.
Oh my god, you're giving me anxiety.
Sorry. I'm trying to go fast. Oh, really?
Okay, Sonic.
Basically. Yeah.
Ugh. Get
Yeah.
that on your lap. Oh, so good. Back in we go. Do you want me to put that on a less noisy, like, surface instead of just paper?
Nah, it's fine. That's fine.
I apologize in advance for the unintentional ASMR. This lunch was my idea. We try and get it every time I come home.
It's such a
It's
good
so good.
lunch. It's literally probably the best sandwiches in the area. Like, if you've not had a pepper steak sandwich, highly recommend. It's a very good type of sandwich. Okay,
Oopsie doodle.
that's fine. I'm never good at, like, getting anything good from the top of that anyways, so it's fine. But... dude. Please. Can you not? Thanks.
Please.
Please, just, can
Please.
you?
My son. He's very ill.
Really cute little triple jump. Give me here. I did not mean to do that spin. It's fine. Come on. Give me that red point. In case you're wondering, yes, this is the fastest way to get it. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, without the hover nozzle, that is. If you have the hover nozzle, then it's way easier. Ah, dang it. Didn't.
God, this isn't a good one for you, bud.
It's no. I struggle with this one.
It's
This
all
one.
right. You got it. I believe in you.
Oop.
Oh, believing in you less and less.
That is valid. There we go.
There you go.
Didn't get the spin jump the first time, so I think it just did a backflip like that. Oh boy, do I not like spin jumps when they're not buffered. Could you please just get up there? Like, yes, you can do a backflip. Oh my god, no!
Oofda.
Brother. Good thing, this is why on my splits, it says my PB was 5 minutes. Oh crap! I screwed up because I changed how I did my fingers because I thought it would help it, but it did not. It just messed me up.
You got this. You got this.
Oh, bruh. But yeah, this is one of my longer splits, unfortunately. Could be faster. I was actually, when you guys were playing the card game yesterday, I was literally practicing this as one of my things. So I was like, I know I do poorly at this, and it takes me way longer than it should.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, why? All right. Spin jumps, please. I would like you to work. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Sometimes I don't know why the spin jumps don't register. Thank you. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay, give me up here. Give me that coin. Coin. Coin.
No, coin.
All right.
Coin.
That's fine.
Coin.
I can at least get back up there relatively quicker than I can the other place. But that's really annoying. We can still actually, like, as long as I get these at a reasonable time, we can still...
Get a PB.
Well, yeah, I mean, that too. Ooh, hey, I actually landed back on the tree. That's hella nice.
You were so
God. Yep.
funny.
Give me that. Just gonna stay here. Ah!
Oh, no, that
it
was
was
such
so
a drop.
close!
That was such a drop.
It's okay, the drop is fine. I have my own backup that I made for this. But,
Okay.
like, if I could just get on that green platform, that would save me so much time. But it's fine. Get out of here. I don't like you guys.
Oh, I remember watching you do this.
Yeah. This is exactly why I was doing it. Because, oh boy, the time.
Yep. I remember that happened too.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with that. We're actually going to save some time here, surprisingly. So that's cool. But this is definitely not one of my best splits. Cool. We're back to a minute.
Get in there. Get in there. Dude, did you hork down that other half a sandwich already?
No,
Oh, I just can't see it.
it's just hiding. So good. I didn't quite do what I wanted. That's fine. Alright, fine. All of you being slow. Don't want me to use the other method. It's annoying. Buddy, come here. Nice. I'm gonna stand over here for a second just so he sees me. There we go. Both of you, come here. Nice. Two. Two. I have seen the faster runs able to get all of them out and on Mario at the exact same time, so you can just ground pound like all of them. I have no idea how they do it, because this is so tricky to just get them in there. And to get them to line up properly. There we go. That works. Sick. Alright, now it's time to break the game a little. Oh, I love these sandwiches.
They're so good.
They're so good. Spunky, hi!
What's up?
Hi, Spunky. Spunky! You might be able to recognize that, by the way.
I do recognize that.
Yeah.
Just classed up, my dude.
That's right. Spunky, thank you so much. 25 months. Ah! Thank you.
That's amazing.
I appreciate that
Congrats all around.
so heckin' much. Thank you. How are you today, friend? I did not do what I wanted. Thanks, controller. What's that coconut? Come hither. It's in the ground here somewhere. I don't remember. There it is.
Got it.
Give. Thank you. Hope you are doing well. Move that out.
Wow.
Blah, blah, blah. Drowning in package work, but good. Heck. Yeah, I bet you got a lot of packages to send out for sure now that that sticker came in. Very exciting. You too, come
does
here.
he make stickers too? Or
A lot of things, yeah. The
Just
emotes on my
however you do it.
channels. The emotes on my channel, the whole background and everything that you
Okay.
see. Stickers.
Awesome.
It hit both of them. Badges. Lots of good arts. A lot of really fun sticker designs too.
That's awesome.
I think one of them is on my Switch dock there behind those cards. I think. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I only need to hit one of you. Thank you. Yoink. Oh, no. He went out of bounds.
Oh no.
So, unfortunately, when you go out of bounds in that area, it basically puts them in water. Like, not really, but that's how the game treats it. So they just die. Because they die when they touch the water. Now, we have a lot of time to save here, because I goofed.
Oh no.
It took me quite a few times in the PB.
Did I tell you we're going to cash this tonight? We're going to go get German. Oh, it's going to be great.
What a great day for food.
Right? Oh. Pepper steak sandwiches.
Do you think we'll get, think we're gonna get a party pretzel? Or like a regular pretzel?
God, I don't know. I hope so.
Banana,
I
please.
think mom's going to say probably.
It's around here, I
Coconut.
swear. Yeah, there's a banana around here.
Around here somewhere. So there's something right there. Up there. Ah, there you go.
And it's like you have to actually be... Brother's a bit hard to hear.
Oh, sorry. Here. I'm leaning way far away from the mic because I was eating a sandwich and I feel like that's sonically very unpleasant. Just
Bum,
listening
bum,
to all
bum.
the yummy noises and the crunching and the chewing.
All the...
Oh,
Noises.
Jesus. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to avoid, but I appreciate that.
Okay, I need two of you. Sandwich time, yeah. We got some pepper steak sandwiches. Spunky, I don't know if I've ever... I don't know if I've ever taken you to go get pepper steak sandwiches, but oh, they're so good. And yep, that almost too high. Almost too high. Nope, it was too high. Dang it! It was too high. Big sad. Alright, that's fine. Oh, we never did. Oh, I gotta. Oh, no, that's right. I can't. Dang it! I can't take you now either. Shoot. Oh, well.
Well,
No, there's reasons.
yeah, but you know,
There we go.
maybe someday.
Come here. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
No! Spin jump. No! Alright, well,
Oh no.
there's an invisible wall there. Do I go get one more? Okay, I'll try it. Oh, the cheesesteak place. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were telling me about that, actually. You're telling me about that, I think, either on stream or, like, last car ride or something. Can't remember which of the two it was. It was one of the two. Okay, let's try again.
Oh no.
Never mind. Thanks,
You got
game.
this. I believe in you.
Thanks, game.
Look, you still got 5 minutes
I do.
of lead time. I have no idea how long this takes. So
Well, if you look at my best right there, I basically got it first try at least one time before.
Oh
so.
no.
Yeah. Luckily,
That's
the
alright,
PB
that's
is
alright.
the PB is absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's like 9 minutes. It looks like.
I clicked the wrong shine. You could do it on this shine.
Oh, hey, that cheesesteak place has vegan and regular options. That's awesome. What did you do? Why did you do
I
that?
picked the wrong shine. So you can still technically do it on shine 5, but like the little guys, they move slower than the smaller ones.
Yeah.
So it takes a little longer to set up, and I basically exclusively practiced with the fast ones. So
Can I just point out something really funny that I just noticed? I'm
Yes.
looking over at like the wall of CDs and DVDs and like VHSs that is right next to your streaming station. And there is a particular VHS that says Dad's and then crossed out in pen miscellaneous TV.
yeah.
And then written underneath it in pen, honeymoon. And that is hysterical to me.
It's yeah. This is pretty funny. I am missing the variant. I am still missing the variant. Please, thank you. I was really far off, apparently. You smash down. All of y'all do that. Get out of my way. Yoink. I have 4, which is actually way too many. So you drop off. You drop off. Oh, they were too close. Get down. Come back. I really don't need 4 of you guys. I really don't. I just need 1. I didn't mean to kill him, but oh well. He's dead. He went out of bounds. He is not dead. Okay, controller, I swear to God. I swear to God! Ah!
Is it a bouncy thing?
No, but you have to get on it. So what's up is there's an invisible wall there.
Yeah.
So you have to get on the platform. To take you to the invisible wall. With the Yoshi. And what that lets you do is one of the shines, number 6 in this level, you have to get a Yoshi and then make it orange, and then like there's a Yoshi go round. So you take the Yoshi there and you put him on the spot, and then it takes you to one of the floodless levels. Ah! No! Why did that go so far?
It's because they hate you.
I guess. Boink. That's what you get. So in order to do that, you have to do this little trick that takes you through the invisible wall with the Yoshi.
Yeah.
And then you can get that shine sprite a whole shine early, and then you can skip
And
one
so,
of
like,
the
what's
harder
the
shines.
what's the what are you cheesing when you just like lick that one
Oh,
fruit?
yeah. So that's a thing called fruit storage.
Nice. That was classy.
Yeah. It doesn't work on the Japanese version of the game, but it does work on the English version of the game. So when you go to lick a fruit and then you get off of Yoshi as it's coming towards Yoshi, it does this thing where it like stores the fruit in the memory of his tongue. And please don't die. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay.
All right. Third time, 6th or 9th or 12th
God.
or 15th.
I'm gonna
Hit it! No.
I was like, it's low enough. I don't have to use the spin jump. Which was a bad decision. I should have spun jump anyway. So it stores the fruit kind of just in the Yoshi. So when you lick the fruit, or when you do the tongue thing again, it eats that fruit that you had previously stored, and it changes the color. And the reason you need to do that is you need the purple Yoshi, because the different Yoshis, when they spray an enemy, the little blocks are different colors and they do different things.
Yeah.
So the purple one makes the platforms go in the direction that the enemy was facing. So you had to. So that's why you need purple Yoshi. But in order for the Yoshi go around to work, you have to have the orange Yoshi, which is why you have to do fruit storage with the papaya. So that way you can make them orange while riding on a purple platform that you created. Yeah, it didn't pop out. Ah! Give me another papaya. There it is. I'm pretty sure it's a papaya. It's either that or a yellow pear tomato, and chances are
I don't
not.
think it's that. Yeah.
Very highly unlikely.
I mean, you're on a tropical island.
Exactly.
I don't think that that's the case.
Why? Thank you. Give me that. And that. Yoink. Let me grab 2 of these guys. Come here. I'll have to reset him a little early. Gosh dang it.
There you go. There you go.
Just gonna reset both. There we go. Okay. Come on, little dudes. I need y'all.
Just
go.
like be chill for 2 seconds.
Yep. Yoink.
He didn't come through.
Oh my god, wait. Did he slam down?
He didn't.
Okay. He's either alive or, oh, I'm not sure. He's either alive or he got squished by the water, and it could have been either.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Which is fine.
You're fine. You got it.
Yoink. Just high enough. There we go. He slammed down. Come here, dude. Come here. Okay.
All right, you got this. 12 times a
I
charm. 12 times a charm.
hate, dude.
Oh my gosh!
Like you
No!
are hearing
I'm
me
hearing the
spin the
clicks.
stick. You know what I think?
All right, reset.
Yeah, I think I need a new top at this point, but I don't know. Could be the remote, could be the delay.
I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere, but this is a PG-13 stream, so
already losing some time.
it's all right. Yeah, you're 2 minutes behind. It's all right. It's all right. This one bites.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it.
It's either really nice
Yeah.
or it takes me this long, which is really bad.
Yeah.
But
I'm just kind of like shocked and astonished that you got it in one before.
oh yeah, no, getting this first try is absolutely not easy.
Yeah.
But I have. Let that papaya. Get out the durian. Send them down. Durian.
Oh, I guess it is a durian, huh?
Yeah. Boink. Ah!
No.
There's one more durian somewhere. I just don't remember where.
Boo boo.
It's over here. Wait a minute.
Boobles, why?
It's not as easy as it looks.
No, I know.
Alright, where's the other
It's
durian?
a pineapple.
Pretty sure it's over here somewhere. There it is.
There you go, right
Alright,
there, right
sick.
there, right there.
Here you go. Luckily, there's like one of each fruit here.
Yeah. Do you think it'd be easier to reset?
Nah. Not while I have the parts here, because there's the cutscene of coming back in and coming out.
Yeah.
There we go. Slam them. That guy's in the way. Boink. That works.
It's fine.
I'll take it.
It's fine. I'm
Slam.
fine. Everything's fine. You've got
I'm gonna-
too many.
Yeah.
Homies.
It's fine.
Too many of the homies.
Way too many. Gonna like totally mess up some of the.
Trying to tuck you into bed, man.
Yeah.
You got 2 of them.
I'm okay with that actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You think
So
you
here.
get the homie right here?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Swear to God.
Come on.
God.
Come on. Come on. You got
God.
this. Oh, you got stuck under it. What?
Yeah. Again, invisible wall here.
Oh.
This is so annoying.
This is brutal.
And I don't know if it's because slippery thumb or slippery stick at this point, but also, I could have sworn that I had the means of the spin jump down, but clearly not. A little more finicky. Now a little like, I suppose,
All right. Well, at this point, you're 4.5 minutes over. What are you gonna do?
just keep going. I don't know. You know, I'm just doing one run with you.
Okay.
That's all I'm doing today.
That's fair.
Okay, I barely made that. Yikes.
Oof, though.
Come on.
It's pretty rough. All right. Come on.
I missed. Okay,
What?
that's really bad, actually. Please, 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 please. Okay, okay, that's fine. All right. For the love of God.
Hey, you did it.
Boom.
Hey, look at you.
We got it.
Look at you.
There you go. And see, and then that you do the fruit storage. Now he's orange.
Yep, now he's orange.
And he's actually, he's a lot further forward then I definitely expect them to be. And again, the reason you need the platform is because if you're in that invis wall and you step off, you just die. You straight up die.
Oh, no kidding.
It just launches you down to the bottom where it's basically water.
Oh, no, no!
That's fine. That was really dumb, but I was trying to go for a fast cycle. Sorry.
You got this.
There
I
we
believe in you.
Boink.
Give me anxiety, but I believe in you.
Yeah, that's yeah, the stage. The stage does that, unfortunately. Do 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 do. Boink. Boink. There we go. That's all I need. There you go.
I like the Japanese square watermelon.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Boink. Nice. All right. Way too much time, but that's fine.
Oh man.
I don't really have time for another one.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Watching you hork down this sandwich.
This is a good sandwich.
It's a really good sandwich, guys. I can't impress upon you how good it is.
Cannot describe in words how good this sandwich is. Like, I wish I could. But so as you can see, we skipped that one. We skipped shine number 5 by doing that.
Oh.
Which, the shine number 5, Hoverless, is just so much of a chore that I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn how to skip it. Ah, of course. And that was my own fault.
Your own fault.
That was my own fault.
Own fault.
Alright, he is going to give me a very long chase. It's great. Once
Oh,
again,
buddy.
spin.
Oh, buddy.
Once again, the spin
Come
jump.
on, buddy.
Not spinning.
You got this.
Yeah.
Get him.
His hitboxes are really dumb. Ah! And when he runs into you, it's just absolutely the longest slowdown ever. For no reason. Please. Dude. He was one shot away from me.
Darn it all.
Man. Well, another stage down. Let's move on. Onwards to the next one. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, my current PB, as I mentioned earlier, it's 2 hours and 38 minutes. Like, my any percent speedrun is actually only like 20 minutes faster than this.
Yeah.
It's at like a 2:16 or something.
Okay.
So, I think it's wild. There are people who have done Hoverless in under an hour and a half.
That's bonkers.
It's incredibly bonkers. And they're not even doing some of the tricks that like some of the people do. There's like, I think the world record currently, that didn't do what I wanted. The world record is like 1 minute, 1 hour, 17 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
That's bonkers.
Bring it up there. Bring it up here. Or not. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay, sure. Okay, sure. Whatever.
Oh, dude, you pulled off his whole tentacle.
Sure did.
That's rough, bud.
He's mad.
He's got a cork.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Wow, this was so sloppy in my PB. Wow. So
A
dumb.
little late on that one, yeah.
Like, look at that. It's like almost a minute. It's so dumb.
Wow.
That's so dumb.
That's all right. You shaving it down, man.
Yeah. I got this. Here's the thing. The thing about when I'm running Sunshine is my consistency is all over the place. It is all over the place. Which one's this?
You gotta, I don't know if you gotta do more or do less.
That's a good question. I should probably do more. Because, like, I don't really practice that much. And I usually, like, I do runs. That's my practice.
Oh, yeah.
Camera just suddenly changing. Thanks. Because that's what I want. Yeah.
Oh,
I cut that way too close to the wall. We are losing a lot of time.
No.
So we gotta go back out. Yeah.
Boogie, boogie.
I have 2 lives. I need to keep. Well, I have 1 life, and then the 0-0 counts. I gotta keep that in mind.
Oof.
I'm gonna need that for Rico 4. That's fine. Bonk.
Does it matter which one you take?
The green one is better for control.
Okay.
So like when you're pressing and holding forward, he goes a little faster, and if you let go, he goes a lot slower. So it's much easier to control him. In terms of walls and things, I just like hella goofed and took that like way too tight.
Okay. Hell yeah, brother.
This is also a pretty fun little track, I gotta say. It's a good song. Yoink. Yep. Haha. Lost almost a minute. Let's go.
Ah,
So dumb.
you hate to see it.
Early split. Q, hello. How are you, Q? Hope you're doing well. This is my brother.
What up, Q? Rock and roll.
Alright, so here's the thing about this. There's 2 ways to do this. There's a safe way. Oh, I did that.
I think that's out of the question already.
No, that doesn't count. That's not how that deals.
Doesn't count, he says as he smashes into the wall.
Shush. You got you a burger? Let's go.
Rock and roll McDonald's.
Yeah, that was a thing. I don't know if you know. It was actually an establishment of McDonald's.
What's that?
Rock and roll McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
No!
No!
Why, dude? I
So
have
I
to
think
get up
you're gonna
there.
have to do the risky version.
No, I'll do the... Oh, I don't think I can get over there fast enough. I'll do the, like, slightly safer movement to get over there. Just because at this point, like, it'll be faster as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Would like to do the faster movement, but yeah, my spin jumps are not being
They're pretty
good.
trash today,
They're
not gonna lie,
really,
yeah.
they're really trash today. Boink. Okay. And this way. Boink. You, sir. Go away. Go away. Go away.
Oh boy, that guy about gotcha.
Yeah, you're right. I should do
About
the,
got.
should do the non-risky version. Because to do the risky version, you have to do a spin jump and then like jump after that, which turns into a triple jump, which is slightly higher than a spin jump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you also have to dive. So you have to basically dive like right after you do the triple jump to get enough height and distance to get where you want to go. Yoink. And for now, because we're already losing some time, we're just gonna go this way.
You got this. I believe in you. Maybe. We'll see.
That's fair. Womp. Boink.
So you can't hover, but you can rock it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, just can't hover. Ugh. Yeah.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great. It could have been, yeah. If I had gone for the other trick, I probably would have just fallen down and lost more time, so.
Alright, you got this. Minute 55 is what you gotta beat.
Which one is this? Oh, this is Rika Far. Oh, boy. Okay. I gotta focus on this one. Hold on. That was a really good time, by the way. That is my current gold. Ah. Okay, game. Fine. We can go this way or not. I don't know what I'm doing.
They
currently.
really don't want you to do great today, apparently.
They don't. It's too bad.
They being the video game gods.
Yeah. Bonk. Gotta do. Oh, I gotta do all this the slow way. Please.
Oh, buddy, it's not your day.
It's not. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's the quickest way to get up here without the hover nozzle. Man.
That chill music.
It's such good music.
So great. It's even better than, you know, the lo-fi hip-hop beats to relax/study too.
Maybe. People have... There's Mario versions of that. Let's go! Oh, baby. Okay. We got the quick stuff happening. Good.
The sandwiches. Oh, man. Loud
Yep.
noises.
Yep.
NBD.
Feel
As the
that?
children say. I don't know if Ben didn't.
It shouldn't be picked up. Just trying to as. There we go. Let's go! I will take that. Getting that first cycle with no deaths, I am A-okay with that.
Crushing it. Ah, a little slow on that one, though.
Yeah, most of that time was just getting to the damn level.
Yeah. You finish. I could take that off your lap.
I'm almost done.
All right.
There is.
Just get that Sonic nightmare out of here.
Just away from
Coming
the
to
microphone.
consoles near you, Sonic Nightmare. It's just a man eating a noisy sandwich into a microphone.
Oof. Oh, you know. The fast way to do this would be go in here. That
Oh,
that
no.
was intentional. Just real quick, that was intentional.
Okay, okay.
The faster way to do this would be for me to like probably go through the manhole, but I thought of that really late, and I was like, oh wait, maybe I can.
Was
get
it
off of
intentional
there.
or mostly intentional?
Mostly intentional.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Do that. Nice.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Oi, this guy again.
Yep. Ah, bruh. This. Mad. Grab. Oh, crap. Alright.
Oh man.
Alright, all the time lost. Let's go. I didn't hear the sound of the eyes. All the time lost. Let's go.
Oh no.
Bro, please. Oh my god. I'm actually about to die too. I
Man, he
should
is-
point that out. I'm just grabbing it all the wrong times. Gosh, you have to pull that back so much farther than I would like.
See that, man. Oh no, you got it. You got 8 seconds. You can do it in 8 seconds.
I wish. 'Cause I still got
was-
another cutscene.
That was pretty. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you did it in 8 seconds.
I did it in 8 seconds, but I do
This
still
is
have to
the-
wait for
is the
this.
issue, yeah.
Yeah. That's all. That's the only thing.
Oof.
Alright, 2 left. Enrico. Yup.
Aye.
Yup. This is how it be. This would have reset a long time ago, but that's okay. We're doing a no reset. There we go. This is the red coin one. I will probably not get the fast Shadow Mario, but I really hope that I do. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, please. Do not. I almost forgot to hit the button. Genuinely almost forgot to hit the button.
Oh, that'd have been rough.
That would have been really bad. I would have had to exit stage. Got it.
Alright. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see.
That was so sketchy. Yeah, so like, especially for this specifically, this is where having the green one is like super important. So you can slow down and turn. There we go. Oh,
Hey.
Let's go. Time save.
Okay.
Time save?
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. You can get there in time. You got this.
Oh yeah, we got this. We got this. Bam. Time save.
Yeah, that's what I like to
10
see.
seconds.
Hey, time's time.
Oh, and a gold? Okay. Sure.
Hey, look at you.
Sure, I'll take that. Now, another question. I know there haven't been that many this run, but do you recognize that sound as well? I actually talked about it already on stream.
Did we?
Yeah, I meant not that, but the game that it's from. I talked about it already. I mentioned it at least twice.
I recognized it. Was that? Oh, it's Croc.
Yeah, it's Croc. End of the stage.
Like, okay, I recognized it 100%, but like,
all right, no fast
could
Shadow Mario.
I could not place it.
Yeah.
It made me think of like, oh no, you got this.
Yeah.
You got this. You got this.
I don't
No
have the
stress.
fast Mario mostly because I missed him at the beginning. There. He got 0 hits on him, which is
No, but I was
really
gonna say
bad.
it made me think of like Saturday morning cartoons for some reason because I think that was like the time that I would have heard that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, it didn't register.
No.
That's fine.
You got this. You got this.
Yep. Take me away. Take me away. Yeah, if you look at that best there, the best I've ever done this was less than a minute. And that's because there's a way to get Shadow Mario before there's a way to get Shadow Mario before he even goes up the boat ramp.
Yeah.
Like basically you spray him and you're in just the right position.
Yeah.
That
just catch
as he reaches the top of the ramp, you hit your last shot
that's
on him, and it's like
Oh,
so
my
good.
brother in Christ.
Got it.
My heart goes out to you right now.
I'm sorry.
No, I just like.
I'm
it
not playing
pains
that
me.
well.
I want you to do good.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. But
Yeah. I'm doing
no, golly, Willikers.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I figured he was gonna do that.
Oh, usually he doesn't go back that way. That's different.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah.
It's just because I'm here. He decided to do something special.
Everything's doing something different because you're here
Yeah.
today. Oh. Well, oh wow! Even in my PB, this was awful. Like we're actually saving time.
You saved 2
I
seconds.
saved 2 seconds. Wow.
Oh no.
Okay, sure.
That's funny.
All right, now we're gonna go back to Bianco. We're gonna get those last 2 shines that we skipped earlier. Boom, 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 boom. And yoink. Nice. All right, let's finish this up. 6.
Oh.
That's okay. You don't lose too much time for missing it, but it's always like, dang. Don't get to go quite as fast as I could.
Oh, man.
It doesn't matter. I need to go this way. Stop! Bruh. Get off those weird slopes.
No. Oh, no.
Get off those weird slopes,
You got this.
my
You
guy.
got this. Maybe. Or you're going to fall off the cliff.
That'd be funny.
You know, one of the two.
One of the two. Like, either would work. I mean, I could still get where I'm trying to go. Oh, right. Hedges. Hedges, hedges, hedges. Ah, that's fine. Take another little damage. There we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can just get him to close the door really quick. That would be fantastic.
It wasn't that big.
Nice. Nice. One cycled.
What do I push?
For any of you wondering,
If you can hear it.
if you
it's
can
picking it
hear,
up.
yeah, I'm not on the monitor, so I can't tell. But if any of you are wondering what that noise is, it's my wife trying to figure out my parents' dryer. So sorry about that.
I think these cubes are so funny. They're just like, why can I walk up these slopes and
You
not
can walk
fall?
up. You can walk up all kinds of slopes.
Yeah, the Super Mario series is very funny
You see this like
when it comes to slopes. That was way dangerous.
that was bonkers, dude.
That shouldn't have worked.
I cannot believe that worked out for you.
Oh, so much time. We got a new gold. Let's go. Oh, baby.
Hey,
Oh, baby.
nice.
I am
Nice.
very down with that.
So what does that sound for?
When I have done that segment, the fastest that I've ever done that segment.
Nice.
So,
Look at you.
Any
You're
of-
still 5 minutes 30
I
seconds.
am. I certainly
But
am.
you know,
So, the ones where you see the best under a minute, which
Yeah.
is most of the Shadow Marios,
Yep.
that's never going to gold again. That ain't
Oh.
happening.
oof.
That ain't happening, because that time's like just way too good. Oh!
That was so quick,
Yes!
dude. That
Oh!
was so quick.
All right, it's again not gonna beat
That
the
was
gold.
under a minute.
It's not gonna beat the gold, but
What?
oh baby,
Oh, I cannot
baby.
believe that wasn't under a minute.
shave the beard. You look too so much alike.
I
Hi,
know.
Carnage.
I've been trying to tell him that forever, but he doesn't listen. Listen.
a lot. Look,
Listen.
a lot of people.
I don't know if any of you have younger siblings, but they don't listen to you. I've tried.
Look, they're not. He's not just talking about shaving. He's talking about how much we look alike.
No, I know.
Which yes, I do need to shave. I've been just kind of lazy about it because holidays and.
No, I
family
think it's
visiting.
good. He's got like kind of like this curly mustache thing
Oh
going
yeah,
on where he
that's
can
true.
like
just kind of
get it on the sides if he just like waxes it. You know what I mean?
Get the nice curly mustache you see in all the cartoons. Banana. Yeah. Okay.
Banana.
Oh
no.
that should be high enough.
No, you got this.
All right.
All right, he doesn't got this. We're gonna find a new way.
If I did a spin jump, I could probably.
Oh no!
get it.
No! Don't you dare!
I mean, I can grab it as long as I don't use it.
Don't you dare! I won't let you.
Yeah. Oh! Wait! I almost forgot where I'm going. I need to do that.
What just
Genuinely need to
happened?
do that. I landed on Yoshi and
Yes.
started a save state, which is fine because it's just what it does. But I need to get rid of that. Now the other thing is, I landed on Yoshi. Hey, it finally
look,
turned
the light
on.
Came on.
Let's go.
Hey, look, you can see us now.
So I
in
landed
broad
on
daylight.
Yoshi with a horizontal speed, so now I can
Yeah.
just do that.
I dig it.
You just get super hyped from the manhole.
I dig it.
It's really strange.
I'm just
but
super
I
hyped to
take
be
it.
here, guys.
Yes, I'm so happy to see my brother visiting for the holidays.
Oh yeah.
He is two states? One state?
One state.
One
Just
state.
One.
He's a whole state over, but it's still like a 14, 16 hour drive, so.
Yeah. Depends on how illegal you feel like driving.
Right, yeah. here, little buddy.
Don't break the law, guys.
Don't do
Or
it.
do, whatever. I'm not a cop.
You're not a cop. That is true. You're an airman. It's a little different.
Oh, it was good. It was a little bit longer than I was expecting it to be. It's just we ended up leaving a little late, and
It's not a good
so
idea.
we ended up having to like stay over somewhere,
my
which was
God.
kind of a pain in the butt because it was me, my wife, and my 2 dogs.
Please.
But we made it work out and got in Friday morning, something
Friday.
like that.
Sometime when I was at work. That's when you
Yeah,
got in.
I'm pretty sure it was Friday morning.
Grab. Get in there. Sick. Now this guy's like way out of the way now. Where? What? Did he go this way? Oh my
Yeah,
God, he did.
wow.
Wow, I did that
He did.
really poorly. Oh dear.
Oh, you got this. You got this.
Oh no, I mean, I got it. It's
You know,
fine.
maybe. Hopefully.
But like, he's really far from where I need him to be. Hang on, wait. Corner pocket.
Oh, you got it.
Corner pocket.
Corner pocket. Corner
Yeah,
pocket!
let's go! Okay.
Remember, always be kind to your pets.
That's right.
That's great.
Do not side flip, please. I'm gonna delay my A press. Yep. He was going to.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
it's a little rough.
little
rough.
trouble with Shadow Mario. A little bit of
alright,
trouble
it's
with the
alright,
chain
it's alright.
chomplets. It's in some weird places. Yeah, that's fine. You're gonna see that cutscene a lot. Because we're never getting the turbo nozzle. There we go.
Oh, what just happened? I might have unplugged something.
Oh, did you hear it? Da-da-da.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the headphones.
Oh.
Oh, or luckily it wasn't the camera, but I do that does happen,
Oh.
and I'm honestly never sure what it is that's
That's no
unplugging and replugging. That's Piantissimo.
Oh, there he is.
Whoops. That's a
It's
couple
so
of seconds.
sketchy.
He's a
It's alright, it's
very
just seconds,
strange
remember?
individual. It's just
Trying to
seconds.
save minutes, not seconds.
Correct. But unfortunately, this specific shine is one of those that you don't really save time on.
Oh no.
You just you get the one time, and that's the time that you're always basically gonna get, unless you screw up like I did. Because not only do you have to go here, you still have to
You
wait.
still have to wait for him to catch up.
Yeah,
So we're just gonna hang out for like 15 seconds.
give or take. Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
Oh, that wasn't 15 seconds.
Well, still have all that,
Yeah, boy.
and that's where the time loss comes in. Everything together. Yeah.
Only 1 second. Only
Yeah,
1 second.
It's not horrible.
Yeah.
It's not horrible, but it's definitely
Eh. Yeah, it could be better. Could be better.
could be better. All right, sure. 2 jumps it is. Oh, this one. Oh my gosh, this one's actually really cool to do hoverless. When you
While
remember
he's
how to
getting
do
set
it.
up and we're stuck in this cutscene, how many of y'all had a long drive? Who do you think had the longest drive? I had 16 hours. You guys, can any of you beat that?
Like going on a vacation or going on a trip somewhere. Just in general. There you go. Get a little bit of that speed.
I know there's a lot of people that are stuck because the airlines
Oh,
aren't doing the flights anymore.
Yeah, a lot of
Because
airlines
the-
are shut
the-
down right
the
now.
once in a generational blizzard.
Oh my god. Well, at least I made it, and I'm not dead.
Okay. Hey, I mean 6-7 hours. That's not. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's still a long time to be just sitting in one place. Tell you what.
Definitely some distance. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
That didn't work.
It did not.
Try
I
again,
messed
try
it
again,
up.
you got
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
1, 2,
3.
3. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Oh! Wow.
At least you didn't land in the lava.
I almost did. I'm gonna just spray it down really quick. We should be saving some time just because I haven't died yet. And I think I died a few times in my PB, so. Oh, nope, not close enough. Come on.
You got this.
1, 2, 3.
That
The 3
Did not have worked.
The 3 did not 3. 1, 2, 3. Nope. At least the nice thing
Kind
is...
of interesting how that happened, because you definitely planted.
Yeah.
Or at least it seemed like you planted.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Nope. Mistake press. I'm ending up a little too close to the edge
Okay.
on the jump, so I'm just basically falling off and I'm not getting the jump. 1, 2, 3. Nope. I grabbed the ledge that time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
There you go.
Isn't that
Nice.
great? It's so cool.
Nice.
I love the movement for that. One stream, it took me forever to figure it out because I literally forgot where I was supposed to jump from.
I saved about a minute on this. It's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good.
I died a lot just getting to the spot. It was really it was
Yes.
so dumb.
I was definitely intending to be that smart and witty. It was intentional.
Oh my gosh, you know, I forgot to mention we got a bunch of new
Thank
we
you
got a
for
bunch of
sending me
new
up.
emotes on Better TTV and Frankfurt Face Z, including one Sunshine one. Get in there. So
Hey,
that's fun.
I'm gonna go grab another adult beverage. Would
Do
you
it,
like
do
one?
it, do it.
Okay. Be right back, y'all.
Yeah, sure, I'll have one. Why not? Is that one empty?
Yeah, this is it.
That's fair. Spunky, it is your son. We shall take your son and give him a bath. Oh, he's facing that way. All right. Well, it's not the worst way for him to face, but... Son, 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 son. Oh, that's... I should probably start cooling down a little bit. Not a lot, just a little. There we go. Now cooling down all the way. There we go. Sick. Perfect. 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 Oh! No! No! What? Where are you going? Where's he going? You get back here, young man. You get back here, young man. Oh my gosh! No! Please! Oh my god. No! Wow. I've never had to do it like that before. I usually get it like every time, but I did not that time. Oh my gosh. Ah! Remember to be kind to your pet. Yeah, my brother had a good chuckle at that one. He thought that tickled his funny bone. It was great. I had to get in there. I wonder, do you think a backflip into there would be faster? See, I wonder. I question. I'm wondering about that. This is the secret of the village underside. I almost forgot what I was doing. He wants a banana. Boy, my spin jumps have not been on top tier today. They have been very not good. That's for darn sure. No. Why would you wall jump off of that, dude? Oh my god. I'm so dumb. No, he's grabbing an adult beverage. Why'd I do that? I just lost so much time because I didn't spin jump. Like, you basically need to spin jump with Yoshi if you're gonna be doing that. And I don't know why my brain did that the way that it decided to do that, but okay. Oh well.
We ran out of the other one.
Ooh, I'll take it. Cool.
But you have to say the name of it.
Okay.
Just like the game.
Sure. Your brother is a chair? No, Wes.
My brother is a chair.
No, Wes. Hey, dude.
All right, Ben. What is this?
Huh?
Oh, I'll wait till you're done, so I'm not distracting you.
Yeah. I think it was a pineapple. Please get off the tree. Just give me up there. Thank you. Give me the pineapple. Get.
I know, isn't it weird? Genetics is a strange thing.
Growing up, we had so many people just be like, "You two look so alike," and both of us were like, "No, we don't." And now that we're older, we're like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, we do. We really do." I'm gonna do
I love how the music changes, so now it's like a little bit of bongos.
Yeah, I love that they kept that Yoshi thing in from Super Mario World. It's just one of the great features about Yoshi.
Yeah, it's so that people can tell us apart. Because if I had a beard, like, it would just be way too confusing. All right, Ben, real quick, you gotta say it like the game. What is this?
This is High Noon Sunsips vodka and soda.
Supposed to say,
I'm sorry.
It's high noon.
Hey, there you
Sun
go.
sips. And talk to this young man here.
I'm gonna put this right by your feet. Please don't.
Got it. Okay, that actually could have killed me. That actually could have killed me. Oh, this is a very bad angle.
I had.
Oh no! I knew it. Someone else. Oh my god.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. I've had
Oh, that's
several
really
people
good.
just on the topic of like people looking like other people and it being weird. Okay, I did not read Chuckster.
It's yeah, no, they are Chucksters.
I definitely read something different, and that was very strange.
Yeah, nope. Oh my god.
No, I had a bunch of people when I was living in like Monterey. I had a bunch of people tell me I look like Jason Sudeikis, which I did
What?
not. Yeah, I did not understand.
That's definitely.
It's like, does
weird.
anybody ever tell you look like Ted Lasso?
Like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, no, isn't it? No, Dad's the one who looks like Ted Lasso.
No, just take the H out of it.
Yeah. Something with my brother and I, people say we look alike, and I say, cool, glad we're brothers, or else that would be weird. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't see it, but like when you have multiple people come up to you and be like, "Hey," there's a couple times where it's like, just like I think that they're just Oh no, that's a miss.
No,
There's
wait,
no
that
way.
could have been fine.
There's no way.
No
There's
shit!
way.
It could have been fine! That's a game over.
Oh.
Oh, it's not a game over, thank God.
Brutal.
Can we get a first name so we don't say enemies, bro? Sola. S-O-L-A.
S-O-L-A.
I just really need this one up.
It's all good.
Ah! Look, I prefer to not die. Give me that one up.
There you go.
Why? Give! Bruh. I just want to not die. That's all I want. Please. Alright, fine. Okay. Alright, whatever, I guess. Whatever, I guess. Bump, 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 right about here. So the thing about these
I
guys...
may be little, but I never give up.
the thing about these guys is it's all about the angle that you talk to them. They will
Listen,
throw
if
you
there's-
in the exact
If
opposite
there's one thing I've
angle.
learned, it's always about the angle.
Okay, if you all could get out from in front of him, that would be amazing. Thank you. Boom, boom. Oh, wait. I could actually still get this.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
You better get that.
Got it.
You
Okay.
better get that angle so right.
Because it was not going to be good.
Oh.
Let's go. Oh, okay. That was actually really cool and
All right,
completely
all right.
unintentional.
That was
Bad.
that was pretty rough, my dude.
That was really bad.
That was pretty rough.
Oh, this is really good. Delicious. Yoink. Get in there. Thank you, Carnage. Pianta's in need. Okay.
Who is this pic? What is this picture?
That is Simply. That was an emote of Simply.
I dig it.
He's is he still in 3rd place for 120 star? I haven't checked the leaderboards in a while.
I've got a great...
Nope.
Nope. Ooh, somebody's
saying
been
nope?
supplanted.
Saying nope that it's not Simply, or nope that he's not 3rd anymore? 'Cause if he isn't 3rd anymore, heck.
He's
Like 6th? Oh,
no.
that's right, because Ouija got world record recently. Also, I'm forgetting what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
Cleaning these people.
Oh, man. You got this. I believe in you.
Time is gone. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, ma'am.
And Punky and Marlene.
Oh, that's right, Marlene. Yeah. A sleeper. Well, I mean, they went by a different name before, but they just suddenly got really good at 120.
Hey, how many more times do you think people are going to be like, man, these guys look really alike?
As many of them who show up. Punky also bopped him not too long ago. Yeah.
It's pretty, yeah.
They
We
see.
like don't get me wrong. I'm not offended, and I know he's not either.
I'm not.
We've been getting it our entire lives.
It's funny. It's just really
Man,
funny.
you
every
guys sound
time.
the same on the phone.
We get that a lot too. And
Oh,
I
you
know
look
we
the same,
don't.
too.
Who did I miss?
Yeah, no, he's the
Oh,
one with
he's
the
not
facial
clean.
hair.
For now.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, I'll be shit. Yeah,
I got him. I got him by 2 years.
He's got me by 2 years. That's why. Well, he's leaning back now, but that's actually one of the reasons why he has the comfy chair right now.
Comfy chair.
Is
Age over
because,
beauty.
like, I was gonna sit in the good chair, but then I sat in this chair and I was like, this chair is so much shorter. I can't do that to him. Old man needs extra back
No,
support.
that's the.
My dad does.
Okay, dude. Real talk though. You got to get that back support. Take care of. Listen,
good.
Take care of yourself. Ergonomics is a real thing. I have like ridiculously expensive orthotics because I have flat feet. Like, take care of your body. You only get one.
Excuse me.
That's me on my soapbox.
It's a good soapbox to be on.
Yeah.
Get in there! No! Why? Mario, you moron! Are you kidding? Bruh! That was the last one! That's literally the last shine I need to get.
You got this.
Wow!
Oh my god. You're killing me.
Give me that pineapple.
Oh.
Oh, damn.
That's
I was really hoping that was gonna be better. But I
that's,
guess this one
hey, this is a PG-13
sure is.
stream,
Yep.
sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's like, oh yeah, yeah, on the ground.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Holding some type of machine.
There's no save screen, so I have to. Ah, man, bruh, I can't believe. Literally, because my brother's here, and it's not him, but like I've had so many dumb things happen on
No,
stream that I have not actually had happen in a run before.
I
and it is
totally understand how that
ridiculous.
happens. It's like the second you have somebody watching.
So that's gonna do the same thing as when I jumped on him earlier
Oh, gotcha.
with that speed and just paused
Gotcha.
twice.
Gotcha.
But yeah. Also,
Alright,
no,
come on,
for
last
reals, when I'm sitting in a pew, I genuinely do go grab one of the back cushions.
Yeah, dude.
I do.
You gotta,
'cause
you
I'm
know,
like,
life is too short to like willingly be in pain.
Yeah. Here, buddy. Give me the fast stuff, girl. Give me fast girl. Please. Please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it. God, that took so much time because I had to get back
Oh,
up.
that's
Look how
brutal.
much time I lost!
All right,
Oh.
so
Sound alert. Sound routine. Lucy! Lucy!
was that- Yes, I have seen it.
Yoshi.
We're gonna go here.
Bonk. Get it, boy. Noki Bay.
All right, 2 levels left. Noki Bay, Pianta. Pianta? No, we were just at Pianta. Noki Bay.
You got Noki, and then Corona.
Corona's end split,
Yeah.
but it always shows the end split. So it's all of Noki, Serena Beach. All of Noki, Serena Beach, and then Corona. One, two, three. Bonk.
Nice. Oh no.
That's fine.
Oh no.
I agree. That's
It's alright. It's alright. You know what?
Could you just not? Thanks. Okay.
It's alright.
Close enough.
Oh.
Oh,
There
apparently
you
not.
are. Come on, come on.
Apparently I'm not close
no.
enough to that ledge. Okay.
Oh boy. Come
Yeah,
on.
I
Come on.
see
Get
it.
out of there.
Sorry, y'all are gonna hear that life alert meter.
Life alert.
Yeah,
Falling and I
basically.
can't get down.
This is basically. Solo playing after this, right? Nope.
Oh, guys.
Nope.
Listen, I cannot emphasize this enough of like how little you guys want to see that. Like, there will not be a 2-hour playthrough. It will be like,
At least 5. Maybe.
yeah,
Like,
I am such a like
there you go. That's all I wanted.
just a casual gamer.
Yeah. Oh, I should have got that coin. I got that one. And that one. Gimme. Nope.
Oh,
Not quite.
oh boy.
It's fine. Stop.
Oh
Okay, I
boy.
need to wait for 2, 3. Give. Ow.
Oh no, you had it.
No, it's fine. Oh, not quite. Hang on. There we go. Can you not? Oh
Gotta
my
get
God,
that life
no.
out, man. There you go. There you go. Oh, what is that?
Give. It's a spot bomb. That completely missed, of course. And 1. And 2. And please don't. Please don't. Please don't! Yeah. That explosion stays out way longer than it should. Makes hitboxes.
Yeah. I know.
What a run. What a run. Bye!
There it goes. Oh, you know, the only thing it was missing was that like Team Rocket like
Oh, I
You know.
agree.
lens flare in the background.
Nice.
Oh, we got that rocket nozzle.
It's really interesting. Oh, actually, that's the turbo nozzle. It's really weird. In the overworld, you actually get the rocket nozzle last.
See, guys, I don't even know the difference between the rocket and the turbo nozzle. Like,
Let's be real. The only people who use the turbo nozzle are the people running 120. And actually, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
They sometimes use
totally.
it. They sometimes use it in.
So for
70.
for those of your viewers who don't know what running 120 is, you should totally explain that to them.
Oh,
Not me, I know,
Yeah.
but like, you know, any of your viewers.
just all 120 shines in the game.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
wrong buttons.
Oh, well,
gotta-
I mean, you know,
You gotta
it
hit
could-
B. Yeah,
That could
you
have
have
been
to.
worse.
It could have been much worse. You gotta jump. I pressed jump too early.
Oh, my Lanta.
Just. Yoink. Bonk. Yep. That was unintentional, but it works for me. Come up here. 1, 2, 3. Bonk. Bonk. There you go.
Neat.
Yeah, it's actually really fascinating using the Y-cam. Alright. So, remember that squid boss?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're supposed to fight him again here.
Uh-huh. But you're going to totally circumvent that.
Yep.
Neat. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah. Didn't quite do what
I was going to say, I feel like it didn't work, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Just do what I normally do, which is that. Come here, you. Grab that. Move my camera.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are just blowing my mind.
It's a really fun trick.
That's
I
pretty
like
neat.
that one. Oh, 2 minutes because I fell down. Well, not quite 2 minutes, but really, really close. Oh, never mind. Now it's just actually 8 minutes. I was looking at the wrong split.
Let's go.
Yoink.
Let's go.
We going. We jamming.
We be jamming.
Oh, and this one's actually really, what's really fascinating about this one in Hoverless is if you miss the first 2 coins, you have to leave and come back in. Because you never get back up that high again. Okay. And the way to do it is you just kind of delay. There we go. Cool. I'm gonna just touch this real quick. Sick.
Sick nasty.
Ah! Of course.
Oh no.
That's fine.
Oh
It's just a
no.
little bit of time. Just a little bit.
Oh no.
Yoink.
Okay.
Grab this.
It's alright. You get just 3 more. You got that one.
Yeah, won't be able to get that one. Have to come back for the height. You actually, like, that's the thing. You have to come back for the height almost like every single one. Oh. Thanks. And we get this. Thank you. Go, 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 go.
Come on, Mario.
Gotta
You
get
slow
yourself to
poke.
swing just a smidge faster.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you
Probably
go.
didn't need to go up all the way, but it's just
That's
the
alright.
safest
Safe,
way to do
safe,
it.
safe. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Yoink. Huh. Yep. Boink, 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 boink. And it's like just high enough that you can't get it by just walking out of there. So
It's
dumb.
obnoxious.
It's really obnoxious, but such is the joys
You know.
of Hoverless.
You know,
Got it.
that wasn't awful.
No, it's great. Uh-huh.
Hey,
Nice.
see, look at that.
Nice. Yeah, that was
Look at
actually
that. I was gonna
nice.
say that was pretty good.
I
thought.
can't believe I've not done it faster than that. I'm gonna be honest. So that's chill. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Yoink. Okay, now this one though, this one definitely takes a lot of time because cleaning that eel's teeth without the hover nozzle
right.
is so time consuming. And, like, it's not even just the cleaning part, it's just the, like, getting to the teeth and consistently being able to reach all of them.
Yeah.
That's the part, of course. Again, spin jump, not reading. Okay, I'm gonna push X, bink, and we're off the hover nozzle, so we don't have to worry about it. You wish turbo was used more in SMS. Literally, SMS is mental cap. Yeah, you use it like. Here's the thing: you could use it to. What runners do is they actually use it to get into the sandbird level. However, I am really bad at lining it up, so I don't do that. Because I did attempt to like practice it and learn it, to do it in runs, but I just like I could not do it.
To break down one door. Yeah.
Break down one door? Nah, it's not even that. It's just to like get into the Sanford level. Come on.
Is that
clean
doing
two.
it for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it already cleaned one. There's two. Luckily, I can shoot through the mouth. Unfortunately, hitboxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, it's right here. No. Ah. Is it down? There it is.
Looks like
It's
you're
one of
getting
them.
it.
It's one of them.
You're gonna take a step forward, I think.
I need to get some HP back. Stay on top of this bad boy's mouth. Oh, that's not high enough.
That's
Alright.
right there, right there, right
Never
there.
mind. No, yeah, I can still grab these, but these are like the easy ones to get, so I don't want to use them up too quickly.
There you go, right there, right there, right there.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm getting one. Don't worry.
Good.
Yeah, just got it. Okay, cool. Okay.
There you go. And then bottom, yeah, right there.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, there you go, there you go. Oh, come on, bucko.
Big buck. Oh boy. I'm gonna take the eat. I'm gonna take the eat. You got the tooth. I'm gonna take this
I feel fright.
because this is gonna get us closer to coins. This is the only reason.
How many more of this you got? You got
We got quite a few left actually.
3 left, it looks like. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I'm at 1 HP.
Yeah, you should maybe get more coins. Maybe.
This is why I didn't want to use all of the ones on the bottom.
Well, I mean, this is
Just here.
oh, no, there you go.
No, no.
Scheiße.
Oh wait, no, no, no. Wait, I got a shot. I got 2 of those. There's the top one.
Yeah, you do. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Is that clean? No, almost. I hope almost. I'm not sure though. Come on, keep turning. That's fine. It's fine. I'm pretty sure I can still reach it from here. If I can aim.
There you go. 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 There you go.
Okay, I need to move. I need him to come back down.
Come on, boy George. You got this.
No.
Oh, no, there he goes.
Dude,
There he
please,
goes.
please,
Going
please,
all the way
please. I
around.
need you to come back up. I need you to come down, my guy.
I don't think it was that side.
Now it was. It's like this one right here. The problem is,
No, I think it's in the back.
don't have a good angle. I'm also running
Hey,
out.
you got 3 health. Yeah.
Please, 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 please drop. Drop. No, dude. I really need you to drop down.
Just gotta eat it.
Please.
No, you're gonna eat it, bud.
Please drop. Please drop.
Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, I hate to watch.
Yes.
There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. There you go. Get it, 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 get it.
Kidding
get it,
me? Dude, no, you gotta be kidding me. I've like
Oh, no.
won 2.
Oh no!
No, it wouldn't have mattered. I can't make it in time.
Brutal. Oh, quick divergence like that more than anything else like scares me. Is drowning.
Drowning is very, very, very scary.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So Instagram thinks that I'm like super interested in cave diving for some reason. I don't know why.
It's so.
I don't know. It just showed me videos of it, and that like stresses me out so much because not only are you underwater, but like you're in a cave
Underwater.
with no air and
Yeah.
like no way to get to the surface, and that is just like so many kinds of terrifying.
Yep.
Oh,
That's funny.
come on, Ubu, you got this.
Yep.
No,
I missed that one. That was just a full-on miss.
Oofta.
All right, we hit X, so we don't accidentally hover. Bleh. So if you'll notice when he's down there and not spinning an enemy, not to mention if you're trapped
Yeah.
with basic survival, that's pretty
Dude,
good. Yeah.
like there's nothing about it that interests me. I'm in a group on Facebook that's like people that are like enthusiastic about scuba diving. And there's a dude who just like only posts pictures and videos of him cave diving in Mexico. And it's like, you could not pay me to do that. There's no amount of money that you could pay me where I would be like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. You had it right there. You move forward like a step.
This tooth is really hard to hit. Bruh. Where is that hitbox? Where is it?
You more health.
Yeah, I do. So you see these bubbles coming off of them?
Yeah.
So if you hit them with your water, if you hit them with the water, oh no. Yeah. If you hit them with the water, they will pop and turn into air bubbles.
Oh, neat.
Which, unfortunately, I am not hitting any of them.
I know, like, you said you didn't want to get all the easy ones, but, like, honestly, dude, I don't know.
I have to start with the easy ones.
Yeah, you have to.
If I can... The thing, though, is if I can, you know, come off the top of his head like that and not have to grab the easy ones, like grab some of the higher up ones.
It just seems so, like, finessed. Like, you have to really finagle it to make it work.
See, and the other thing is, when he's doing this, I don't know if I'm, like, if the game even lets me spray it out to, you know. Come on, drop. I need you to drop on that 3
get down, get down.
Gotta wait.
Get down, bud.
Come on. He's gonna spin.
Yeah, he's gonna spin.
Sir?
Methinks you bone.
Sir? Yeah, you're right. It's faster to hit exit area then. This is why the PB is 8 minutes, by the way. For this. It could be faster. If I was faster, but I don't know what's up with the hitboxes in that math sometimes. The game does not want you to hit them while they're closed. So it's really easy to like hit the top teeth because they're, you know, right there. But there we go. Nice.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. There
Nice.
we go. Yeah,
See,
why couldn't
look, you did it.
Why couldn't you do that earlier?
I know, right?
On the other stages.
Not just the pits.
Ah. You know, could have done UIG so much faster. If Yoshi would have jumped up there. Anyway, but yeah, the thing is, like, you can get those
Is
first
that
three
right?
teeth. Yes. You can get those like top and middle teeth really quickly, but after that,
Excuse me, sorry.
you know, it takes.
There you go.
Oh, nope, okay. I thought I was close.
Yeah.
It was not. This one. Do it. Great. There's like 4. Well, there's a lot total, but
Watch your health, right?
Yeah.
Watch your health. That's what got you last time.
you're right. How's that not cleaned yet?
You got a boogie bang. You're pretty good.
Yeah, give me just some air bubbles, maybe? Question mark? Nope, no air bubbles. Oh, we're gonna get
Oh,
eaten.
you're gonna
That's
get
fine. That's fine. We can aim for some teeth while we are.
I feel fright.
I feel it. And we're gonna get eaten. We're gonna get tossed up really high. And we're gonna go over to a corner here. We're gonna grab some coins. Yeah. With this close-up view, I am just seeing how Mario operates Flood, and God, this man must have a jacked upper body. Probably.
Yeah, dude, so, little known secret, Mario is just a gigantic beefcake.
Basically. That's why every time you go on like Mario 64 stream, they're just talking about Mario's butt all the time. All the time. West Dog can attest to this. I would like him to drop it down just a smidge, but at the same time, I
So
have
just got
technically
lats for days.
hidden the teeth.
I'm gonna get some more. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just
Please
like hang
rotate.
out, and then just wait because he's just gonna sit there.
It's not going for me. It's okay. He's gonna do a spin. Stop at a good spot.
There you go. There you go.
And a tooth.
Hell yeah, brother.
One tooth.
The other one.
Oh, and he dropped. Heck yeah.
Nice. Get in there.
Yeah.
There's one like directly below you.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, pop here. Get pushed up. Gonna take me to some other coins.
Oh,
Nope, this is fine. It's
it's gonna
fine.
get eaten. Just a
Yep.
little bit.
Just a little bit.
It is dark. I feel.
I moved the camera to the right this time. I'm gonna move to the left.
Can you get?
Yeah, I can get those.
Yeah,
I just have to get the camera to the right spot.
Yeah.
Now, what's also good about up here is I'm at like head level. Get out of like entrance, so I can grab all of these, and he'll be
Right there.
Yeah, I see it. Don't worry.
Watch out!
You better watch out. You better watch out.
You better watch out. You better watch out.
I don't know
Yeah.
why it really doesn't want to hit that too. We need to get closer. We got that one though.
Hey.
Okay, let's get a little closer to
There
this
you go.
edge.
There you go. Right there.
Okay, so you can spray it while he's spinning. It's just really hard. Come on. The box is. Okay, he's dropped.
Okay, get in there.
So it's. I haven't used any of the bottom ones yet. It's great. It's right there. There it is. Got it.
Oh,
There's
you
one
got
tooth
it.
left.
Oh my goodness.
There's one left.
Oh
There's
my
one
goodness.
left. This is literally one of the hardest shots in the game because of how long it takes. Oh! Give me out!
Oh, no.
Okay, we're good. You fall
Okay,
in there,
you gotta-
you
you
are
gotta hit
literally
those.
stuck. I do, yeah.
gotta
You
hit
fall in
those.
there, you are stuck. You cannot get out. You have to exit area because the game really doesn't want you in there.
Oh, but.
Stop a good spot.
Come on down,
Okay,
man.
it's on the other side. Drop. Oh, it's the other side. It's fine. That's fine. It's either gonna drop or spin. Either one will be fine.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, because if I can get him to spin in the right spot, there's only that one too.
That was it.
Yeah, so I need to go around. Because it's not on this side, it's on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, coin, good. There's at least a coin left for me. And coin. Drop.
Very
drop.
famous,
He's not dropping.
Poet from the 1960s.
Okay, good. He's fine.
Made up.
Come on.
Sounded good though.
Yeah.
Oh, is he coming down?
He's coming down. He's coming down.
All right. Get in there.
He's coming back up.
Get in there. Get in there.
I don't know if I'm gonna have the coin time. Very low on HP. Stay on. Stay in. Flip
Did
in.
you get it? No, you didn't get it.
Hold on.
You gotta get. Oh, did you get eaten?
No.
You didn't get eaten.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Big rip. Not enough life.
Oh, boy, howdy. This is.
I've done it faster.
This is rough.
It is rough. It is hard. I have done it faster. But we only have time for this one run today. It is very, very tricky. Without the hover muscle.
What day is it? Tuesday?
Yeah, it's just Tuesday.
Oh, I didn't do my homework later.
Stop. I find it interesting that this surface is the only part of the water that's poison. Still just swim in it, no problem.
You know. All right, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hover nozzle
Show me
is
what you
on.
got.
Show me what you got.
I want to see what you've got.
raise your posterior. As it were.
Something.
I don't remember how the rest of it goes.
Head bent over, raised up posterior.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I got you.
Alright. So let's go on top of this.
A little more.
That's good. Should be able to get 2. 2. Pull it up just a smidge. Bruh. Use the coin just a little faster. There we go.
Looks like they're almost getting me on the far side.
Yeah. I think what happens when they're on the far side like this is like the hitbox
Yeah.
kind of just goes
shrinks.
into the mouth.
Oh.
So like instead of aiming directly at the tooth, you have to like aim at the mouth near the tooth or something. That's the feeling that I'm getting. No, it's fine.
Boy, George, you gotta get coins.
Yep, it's all good. I'm gonna get the coins and then activate them. Yeah, I'm just gonna make them climb up because I need to see those chompers, you know.
How do you activate them?
You just go near him.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, I'm gonna scream and go upwards now. Thanks. That's what I gotta do. Unfortunately, I wish that set of water bubbles was closer.
Oh no. Oh, buddy.
Okay.
Oh, buddy.
Listen, game.
Listen.
Listen. Hey, I don't need you doing that.
Maybe to like go away for good luck. Like,
Yeah, you get stuck down there. You can't get back up. Yeah.
No, I said, do you want me to go away for
No, no, it's not you. This is genuinely hard. When will I get back to min caps? When I have gotten 230 in Sunshine, Hoverless, and reached a good time on my other goal that comes after Hoverless. Then I will go back to min caps. Like, I am absolutely planning to get back to it. Excuse me, but I got some other goals that I need to get done to get before I get back to it. What are my goal after Hoverless? I have another goal after Hoverless. And once I'm done with that goal, then I'm heading back to min caps.
What's the goal? Can you talk about it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, because if I talk about it, it'll make too much sense for the people who know.
For the people who know.
For the people who know.
No, I like that.
Like, someone's already figured it out. So one person already knows. It's not. It's not. But one person knows what it is already.
It's your mama.
What do we know? Wes, you might know, maybe, but I won't guarantee that you know it.
I will. I'll guarantee anyone knows anything.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm here for. That would cause trouble.
Yeah.
And apparently it would make anime like real lag behind his PBs.
It's not your fault at all. This category is genuinely hard. Alright, it does not like me trying to spray the back teeth when I do
I
that.
think you gotta get into a position where he's... There you go. You got that one.
Nope. Oh, no. Oh, no. Alright, that's fine. We're gonna get the ground coins. We're gonna watch how he spins. Okay, he's spinning. Okay. Where is he going? Okay. Yeah, that works. I'm fine with that.
Why does it do that?
I mean, it's for one instance, his teeth is literally falling out.
No. I mean, like, it's a steady stream, and then occasionally it'll...
Oh, it's so that you don't like just have spamming it the entire time. They're just like, nah, we don't want you to do that.
Oh, that's rude.
All right, look, Eel, if you could drop down, I'm gonna like sit over here.
That would be really cool.
Maybe.
I think maybe you could, like... No.
Yeah, that's not good. I would like to finish that gold tooth.
That gold tooth, maybe.
There we go.
There you go.
Get back in there. Yeah.
Back in there.
There we go.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, I need you to take me up.
Boy.
Take me down to the Paradise City.
Yes, where the grass is green and those coins are. I guess in fact how the song goes.
That's right.
That's
Okay.
what I've been told. Oh no.
Nope, nope. This is fine. I need this.
Is it? Are
Yeah.
you gonna?
I need to go to the left.
The left.
The left.
Go to the
That's where the
left, my
closest
dude.
coins are over.
Right.
Oh, actually, nope, nope.
Oh, right there, right there, right there.
Oh my
right there,
God,
right there,
nope.
right there, right there,
They're-
right there, right there.
We got it. Yes, but these are lower, and I might actually die before I even
Oh,
reach
you
this
are
one.
100% going to die before you even. Oh. Okay.
Here's
I
the other
was
problem.
wrong.
Here's the other
89%.
problem.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I really need him to drop.
No.
He's not dropping. Or, no chance.
No chance.
Ah!
Oh my Lanta.
This is 22 minutes. This is like as bad as my first PB, where it probably took me like 45 minutes.
Bro, your last PB was 8.
It was
9
so
minutes.
good. I know. It's just giving me so much trouble to me.
So today's demonstration is how not to beat the eel.
It's like how it'll probably look if you're first starting out.
Yeah.
Which,
This is how it would actually no, it's still way better than if I was trying to do it.
okay, fair. Yeah. Spin jump dabs are really cool. I wish I was slightly more consistent at them though.
It's just practice, right?
Yep. That's all it is, and understanding how the game reads the spin inputs also. So I don't quite have a full grasp on it. I thought I did, but or at least I thought I had a better grasp than I did. But my grasp on it is still a little. Nice. Got it right as it disappeared. Okay, so get the top 4 teeth, or 3 teeth, whatever.
Right there, right there. There you go. You might be able to just shoot straight down and get the one on the edge. Those are the hard ones.
All the edge ones just seem to have these weird hitboxes. Yeah, it's just, it does that so that you can't like permanently spam.
Okay, can
Yeah, no. Again, I tried to.
I think maybe you just gotta be like proactive with how you do it.
No, this is still fine. Alright. Now, if we just need to get onto that ledge, that
Yeah.
puts us at head height.
Okay.
Just need to know where it is. Oh, straight ahead. Straight ahead. And by straight ahead, I mean behind you. Thanks, Mario. Grab these.
Look at you.
Camera. Come on. Slowly. There you go. Grab these. Ah, can't see his head. Can't see his
We'll
teeth.
just go over to this side.
I'm
Go over this side.
going.
You
I'm
got this,
going.
you got this, you got
Mario
this,
is
you got
very
this.
slow in the water.
Except for
I literally, like, I genuinely can't tell if they're really spinning. Oh.
it doesn't look like it while he's spinning. But
Got one.
There you go. There you go.
Three. There's two. There's 2 left. Like a little more HP. You
yeah,
could
you need HP.
spin slightly
It's
slower.
not. Yeah. No, you want him to spin faster because they won't let you do it while he's spinning.
Well, yes, but also. Okay, there's 2 left. I need him to toss me back up. Toss him back up, big boy. Can I hit any of these? I can. Give. None of them want to give me their air pockets. I'm disappointed.
Sorry. No,
No. Oh, I died.
Not like that. Not like that, bud. Not like that. Oh.
I feel like that's our closest. So slow though. Way too slow.
Here, we gotta cheers it for good luck. We gotta cheers it for good luck. Today's episode brought to you by Black Butte Porter. Ride the dolphin. Or what? Oh,
Dude, I don't know.
No, it's never mind. It's from Futurama. Ride the walrus.
Oh, okay.
Ah. Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's fine.
Oh boy. You were on such a roll, man.
Oh, I know.
Sorry, you got this. You got this. You got
Yeah,
this.
looks like I had to sit and practice more eel garbage.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I am wholly unqualified to be giving any advice, but like, I think if you're just a little more proactive with getting it up to where the coins are,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what gets you, you know.
Mhm.
And then just being more aggressive about, like, I think if you went and did the deal and got up on that ledge, on the head height ledge,
What if-
like as soon as you could.
Yeah, wait, what if, hang on, head height ledge,
Yeah.
get all the side teeth that are really hard to hit.
Yeah. I
And
also
then,
would.
and then I don't have to worry, because I can get the middle teeth while he's down.
Yeah.
Like, consistently. I
Yeah.
can get the middle teeth when he's down. Okay. Close enough, close enough, close enough, close enough. Yep. Okay, where in the camera? Look for the ledge. It's gonna have coins. Nope, forward in front of me.
Right, dead ahead.
Come on, Mario. Come on, Mario.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see.
Now, oh, I got that coin a little extra. Okay, so he's spinning good. Oh, I don't like where his mouth is.
No, it's good. It's good. Ben, just go.
I'm moving. I'm moving. I gotta move. Mario's a very slow mover when it comes to the water. Grab the side teeth.
There you go. I was gonna say you get it.
That's fine. Spray down. See where it goes.
Using the spray doesn't like affect the water, right?
Yeah.
I think you gotta just like slide over to the side, right? Because I don't think you
Got it.
Oh my goodness! Look at you.
Yeah.
So you got that one tooth. I don't think it's gonna let you get the other one. Cool. Grab some coins.
Yeah,
Grab some
I'm going.
coins. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
spin, which hopefully will get us a better line.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. There you go. Look at you. Look at you go. Look at you go. Look at you go. That is a nasty tooth.
Yeah, it is. Okay,
Brother
he's gonna
in
drop.
Christ.
You're gonna drop here.
There you go.
He's not gonna come up because I'm just gonna really hope that he doesn't.
There you go.
Then we'll go grab the top teeth. Just,
Go
oh.
get him. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him.
That's actually, and another thing about trying to stay in the middle is the camera moves. So you have to like hope that you're moving yourself into the right spot. Now,
It's fine.
problem.
It's fine.
Problem, and I'm gonna explain what the problem is coin-wise.
What about right over there? What about right over there? Right over there. Right over
It's
there.
like it's a coin unless I can be fast enough to. I can.
Ah,
Okay,
man.
but this is still fine because you see over there.
I
I
did
can still
see
grab
it.
these,
did
and I
see it.
haven't really grabbed any of the coins on the ground. I like look.
Well, so
Plenty of coins. There's plenty of coins. I
okay,
need
dude,
to-
you got 2 life left. You gotta go.
Yeah. I need to grab a little. It's not even doing it. All right, never mind.
You gotta get in there.
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna grab
You
these
gotta,
six.
you gotta be in it to win it, my dude.
Grab,
You're just gonna
grab,
start
point.
shouting platitudes at you
Basically,
and hope that it
kicks in. Just
kicks
right.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it'll start giving you. There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Got
That's
it.
what I like to see. All right. Okay.
You grab the point. Oh, and you
All
drop
right,
down.
okay. All right.
And you drop
Okay.
down. I know there's still a top tooth I haven't gotten.
Get in there. Get in there. Get in there.
Pop
get in
up.
there, Get in there.
Again,
Get in there.
I
there.
wish I could pop those bubbles more consistently. It's really.
You got like 2. You got like 1. Okay, 2 teeth. 2 teeth. 2 teeth. 2 teeth. But still.
Give.
Oh,
Okay,
it's so
again,
close. It's
coin
so
problems.
close.
It's
You
right
got
there.
this. You
It's
got
right
this.
there.
You
I
got
just-
this.
I just need to find the coins. There.
Get him. Get him. Get him.
Yeah,
get
that's
him.
fine. I'm gonna have
Get
enough
him.
height. I'm gonna
Get
have
him.
enough height.
Yeah, you got it. You got that height. You got that height. You got them skills.
I'm gonna
That
drop off,
pays
save
up
those coins for
bills.
later. Oh, and we got some pretty.
Okay.
We got a pretty side here.
Scooch, scooch, scooch.
No,
Scooch,
no, no,
scooch,
no.
scooch.
We're
No.
good. We just gotta tilt a little to the right.
I don't know, man. Whoa, you got one more. You got one more right there.
So one more. He's gonna spin. So I'm gonna rotate. So where's he gonna spin?
Right there, right there, right there, right there.
Oh, beautiful.
Watch out, watch out, watch out.
Beautiful, right?
Can you scooch back over? I'd scooch back over. Because you can't see. It's too far. It's
I'm
too
gonna
far.
go for these
Go get
coins.
those. Yeah.
I'm just go grab these coins real quick. Hopefully he'll drop down. Where is
There you
this
go.
tooth?
It's
It's
right there.
literally
Yeah,
a middle tooth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you
so
just
he's
gotta,
gonna
you
rotate.
just gotta drop down.
Nope, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
Perfect
There you
shot.
go. No, he's too far. He's too high. Oh!
Got it.
Ah! Remember. To
All
take-
right, that's
hey,
the new strat.
Remember to take proper care of your teeth, everybody.
Brush those teeth. You don't want to have
Don't forget to floss.
You're not gonna want to have a plumber come in with a.
First try!
You don't want to have a plumber come in with a pressure washer to clean those teeth. You don't want that.
God, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Wes, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Ironically enough, you're shopping for dental plans right now. Nice.
I dig it. I dig it. Hey, guys. Previous best was 8 minutes, 43 seconds this time.
Oh, yeah.
We got a cool 31:46.
Yo, Potters, what's up? Hope you're doing
Hey, yo,
well.
what up? Welcome to the party.
Let's go.
33:32. Oh, man.
Sub 3? Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, bud.
Maybe sub 3, but unlikely. Pika thank you.
GG.
Appreciate
that. Yeah.
Pika I hope you're doing well. How are you? Now you've got a race with another Piantissimo. Little Piantissimo man.
Whatever. That guy.
Yeah, dude, you're
What a
nothing.
schmo.
You're nothing compared
You're a
to
dude wearing
Eel's
a bucket.
teeth.
He says, good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm having a great winter vacation with my bro Sif here.
So, dude.
Nice. Basically like an instant clip. That was cool. Yeah, I'm having a good time here. I was like, hey, bro, you should come be on stream with me today so I can just kind of show you what I do. Definitely not the best showcase, but, you know, still pretty good.
I mean, you know, listen, we're here for a good time.
Sure
not a long
are.
time.
That is also true.
You gotta beat that guy. He's wearing a bucket on his head.
Yeah,
And
honestly,
he's not playing guitar.
it's true.
Oh, that's not good. You got this. You got this.
Yeah, this is actually the first stage that I noticed, that it was just a plastic straw. I just turned the camera and I was like, wait a minute. Hold that. What?
Like craving a McDonald's Coke.
Bro, oh. I was kind of here for a while, but I muted the tab when the ad showed up and just remembered to open the stream. No worries. No worries.
And,
Ads
you
are
know,
lame.
everybody gives Mario all this crap for like, oh man, you're the reason why the shines are gone. But like, this dude was bogarting like 8 shines. Why is he not being prosecuted?
It's a great question. Who knows why he has those shines? I do need to check. There was a gold earlier in the stream that I was like, I think I like split slightly too early. I think it was like a 136 or 138. But I'll probably like go back and not save that. Yeah,
That's what
for
I'm here
reals
for.
though. You know, another question being like, you go help out this owner of a hotel. Why does he have like a couple extra shines? Where'd he get them?
He's just got them in his pocket, saving them for a rainy day, you know?
Apparently. Yep. Dive. Yep. Dive. Yep. Dive. Yep. That's not quite what I wanted. There we go. Barely, but I'll take it. Oh, that did not. That didn't do quite what I thought it was gonna do.
You know, I didn't want to be that guy that's like, oh, dude, watch out for that thing.
Nah.
And then, like, I just watched you jump directly into it, and it was like,
I was hoping I'd either miss
it's like
it.
watching a train wreck in slow motion.
Yeah, I was hoping that I was either gonna hit it, or like. Come on. Give me. Thank you.
There it is. There you go. Hit him twice. Hit him twice.
Oh, come on,
That's
jump.
what I like to see.
Jumping off of wires and on these other things. You surely stole them from the hotel guest? Probably, I mean. Oh, I don't get to do fast strats. Boo.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's not quite what I meant, but oh well.
Let's try that
I
again.
guess I gotta try another attempt at that.
Let's go. Let's go.
1, 2.
Oh, that's a life,
three.
too, huh?
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you remember, like, there's an episode...
Yeah! Fast strat.
There's an episode of, like, Fairly Odd Parents where he was stuck in a video game.
Oh,
and they had, like,
yeah, that was a really good
and
episode.
They had, like, lives.
Yep, and then Timmy somehow got like an extra life because
Yeah,
he scored enough
yeah.
points.
But, like, they almost, like, actually died.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was a good one.
What a messed up, like, concept.
Great show.
Yeah.
Still.
It's like, hey, kids, today we're going to teach you about mortality.
Don't worry, we're cheering with you, not at you. I mean, yeah, that sounds about right, Pikachu.
I'm cheering at you. It's okay. Nah, man, we're here for you.
Yoink. Yoink. Okay. Let me just backflip. Backflip.
Oh, nope.
Die. I mean,
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
was
die,
like,
but like that's
Man, like games like these give me anxiety because like when I can't see what I'm standing on,
right.
and I know that like I'm inches from death. It's like
There you go.
hey, there you go.
Only died once. Still better than PB.
That's still, yeah.
Ah, a gold.
Oh
Really?
my goodness.
Really? If it were real game logic, Chester should have had 2 lives instead of 1, and then he could have hit the start button to bring Timmy back for more life.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
True. All right. What do you think? Slow Mario or fast Mario? What are we getting?
Oh man, no, it's gonna be slow,
It's
Mario.
slow.
I'm telling you.
It's gonna be
Like,
slow.
there's no way it's not.
Getting this fast Shadow Mario is not. Oh, come on. First off, that. Get up here. There we go. But here's the thing, because you got to do like this, which I very clearly did not get. So. Huh? Oh. Here's the thing.
Dude just straight up assaults you.
Here-
Like, no
here's-
big deal. You're
here's the
spraying
thing.
it with water, he just punches you in the face.
Yeah. Here's the thing. At least when he jumps into you, you don't lose as much like time as when you run into him. When you run into him, the game makes you lose so much time. Got him. All right,
Like-
fast Shadow Mario. I'll take it.
Wow.
Not the fastest, but pretty damn quick.
Okay. I mean, pretty close, man. Look at that.
I will take it.
There you go, 130.
I will take that. All right, 1 level left, and then Corona Mountain.
Wait, you got Serena 2, 3, 4. Oh,
5,
I see what
6,
you mean. I see
7,
what you mean. I see what you
yeah,
mean. I see what you mean.
There, you can turn that off. Like, there's a feature you can turn off the final split, so where it doesn't show the final split until you actually get to it. But I kind of like the feature. At first, I thought it was dumb, so I was like, oh wait, how do I know how much they have? And then I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it. Dude, get up there. Thank you.
Ben, you gotta.
Can you
Yeah, what's up?
grab that remote? I don't think it's a tax. Is one of your goals involve one or both of those pictures you shared? It does not involve those pictures I shared. It does not.
I'm gonna be real. I don't know how to make this.
That's fine. Just like hit the A button.
The A button.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, and then if it like turns to a solid color, then we're good.
Nah. It's just
All
not
right, then I'm not gonna worry about it. It just makes one of the levels in here a lot. This one specifically, and one of the other ones makes it a lot easier. But it's fine. Like we can do without it. Don't
The
need it.
Gossamer. What did it say?
The Gossamer Ghoul.
The Gossamer Ghoul.
That Gossamer Ghoul. Yeah,
Man, that's a pretty cool name. I'm not gonna lie.
it is.
The Gossamer Ghoul. That's like a Scooby-Doo villain, right?
It really is. Yeah, the Manta is. We can both. There we go. He is not facing the right way at all. Yo, Dark Wolf, thank you very much, Phil.
Oh, got him.
Appreciate it.
Oh, double got him.
Yeah.
Oh, triple got him. No!
Dude, get out!
Get out of there! Get out of there!
That's fine.
Oh no!
I'm not
Oh,
worried. It's the only
you
thing
got
about
first time
that.
chat. What's up?
Yeah. Appreciate the look. Oh, there we go. Hey, they're all tiny. Good. That means they're all gonna come from me, which means I just have to do this. Come here, little beans. Come here. Just gonna do this real quick. That didn't quite do as much as I wanted, but it's okay.
All up on you.
Yep. That's just kind of how it is.
Come on.
Bruh, alright.
Come
okay.
on,
Look,
Gossamer Ghoul.
look.
Get
Look.
out of here.
Listen, hey.
No!
I was in. What? Wow, he was dying.
Brav.
He was dying, and the hitbox hit me.
Brav.
Ugh. Alright, whatever.
Alright, get back in there. Get back in there. Gotta get your head in the game. It's like Zac Efron.
Yeah.
It's starting to look like a little Zac Efron haircut here, man.
Maybe.
You just gotta like swoop it all off to one side.
True. Grab a basketball, probably.
Grab a basketball. Hey man, if you can do like a super cool percussive beat using only basketballs, like
You got it made.
you got it.
For real, for real.
What am I supposed to do? The goss are a ghoul.
Manta just.
Whoa.
Nasty.
Yeah.
It's like the stink spirit from Spirit of the Whale.
Oh yeah,
You see that? I don't know.
yeah. I have. Yeah, it's a good film. Did you die already? Jeez. Why did that take you so long to split? Alright, listen, buddy. Listen, buddy. Listen, buddy.
I need you to chill. I need you to chill and also dip.
He's still like a little bit. What the hell here?
Yeah,
No.
no. They're dividing into smaller units. They're also like eating you alive.
Use coins.
Coins. No, get that coin, man. Get that
Got
coin.
it.
Ah,
I got it. They're all coming off. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I mean, it worked. It killed a lot of them. That's not what I wanted.
What did you want?
Just to go, for it to go in a straight line. That's all. Oh, I'm out of water. Didn't notice.
Boy, George, you gotta
I'm working on it.
watch your
Yep.
situational awareness.
Yeah. Y'all could just leave me alone.
There you go.
For just half a second. Y'all could just not touch me.
Wow. What a goal. Is that
Cool.
everybody?
Yeah. Took a while.
Oh yeah.
We got it. Oh, what a run. Yeah, this ain't sub 3. It's not happening. Especially not with that. Nope. That's okay.
That's alright.
Sorry. Well, you know, I tried to keep it around 2.5 for you.
That's alright.
There was an attempt.
What?
It's late. It's a little bit late.
Alright, let me go talk to the folks real quick.
Yeah. Sure.
BRB.
Of course. Get in the tube! My man, get in that tube. However, Wes, the thing does have to do with that slideshow that you sent me. It does have to do with that. I am still gonna do that, yeah. Yeah, come on. There we go. Better bop me. What's your time? I don't actually know what your time is. I don't remember the finished time. 121? Okay. I might be able to do that. If I can pick up my game, I might be able to do that. Probably not, though, but again, we'll have to see how much of my game I pick up. Got to do a run now for fun? Nice, do it. What are y'all talking about? It's a secret, Xander. Once I have 230'd Hoverless, you will know. But for now, gosh, I hate this thing. But for now, it is a secret. Please. Nice. Oh, we got a gold, baby! We got a gold! Sexy. We just beat the secret. Does that mean we find the answer? No, I'm sorry, Pika Shy. That's really clever, though, but unfortunately, no. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted. So it's secret to everybody? That's also a hint? No, that's not the hint. Give me a banana. Thank you.
Banana is actually the hint.
Nope, that's not it either.
That's not it? Oh,
No. That didn't do what I wanted. That's okay. Alrighty then. Sure game. Ah, please, dude. I don't want to take the stairs. Thank you. Bum, bum, bum.
Nice.
This is great. Oh, we gotta.
Nice.
We gotta. Oh, wait, two? Alright. Sure. I was about to say we got a gold on Serena too, but
Right.
I guess we just got another one.
I don't want to rush you.
No, I'm going. It's fine.
We do have an appointment.
We do. And I can always show up later. It's all good.
Okay. All right.
Like, I'm okay with that.
All right. Just let me know.
Yeah. Chico Mundo, hey! Thank you very much for the lurk. I appreciate it. Nice to see ya. Oh, yeah, no, we have 4, 5, 6, and 7 in Serena, and then Corona, and that's
I like that Pika Shy says it's a secret to everybody.
Right.
It just makes me think of like that dude in the cave in the original Legend of Zelda.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what Pikachu is
It's just
referencing to.
money.
It's just money.
It's just cash. Cash money.
It's very cash money of him.
Very cash money.
Let me in. Bruh. Let me in!
Hey, see,
Yeah.
I may be old, but I'm still kind of hip. I'm not that old.
You're not at all.
I'm also not.
You're only 2 years older than me.
Oh no!
Are you kidding
Are you kidding me?
No!
No shot. Wow.
Oh no!
Wow.
Oh my God!
Thanks, controller.
Oh
Thanks, controller. I appreciate that so much, you know? Get out of here, boo. I was jumping around with the buttons and the controller, and the hover nozzle popped into place.
No.
And I went to do a spam spray, and instead of spam spraying, I hovered. Could you give me a 7? Oh, I'm gonna just go do Corona Mountain after this, because it's an invalid run. So it doesn't really matter.
That's so brutal.
Can I reset the level? Not today, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We have to go do a thing, and by that I mean dinner.
We're going to get dinner.
It's just basically a no reset run. Get out of here. There is technically a trick to skip this, but it's so much harder without the hover nozzle.
It's not the whole run, just the level.
Can I reset the level? I can't. Unlike CC-less, where on the game you can just, you know, kill yourself and come back in. This Hoverless doesn't have a rule like that in the rules section. Oh, that was actually pretty quick.
We didn't get it all.
What? Wow. I'm disappointed.
You had 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
There you go.
Done, dude. The fact, yeah. I've checked the speedrun.com, and I've looked at it, and unfortunately, it doesn't really say that there's a clause about it.
I feel so bad. I really wanted to say something, but it was like,
No, that's all good.
it happened so fast.
Yeah, I do. It's the problem.
It was.
I was just ready to spam it the slots. Hitboxes, am I right? Please, just flip. Thanks. Thanks. Oh, why the top one?
Why? What with that and such?
That's fine.
Jeez.
Yeah, these hitboxes.
How dramatic.
These hitboxes are something else entirely. Thank you. All right, last secret. Here's what I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna go to Corona Mountain. Invalid run, reset, end stream. It's over. Yep, that is correct, Wes. That is very correct.
Oh, it's so brutal.
It is. Haven't even had that happen for a few runs now, so it's a little disappointing. But
It was just so random how it happened too, because like I didn't think you did anything different. And all of a sudden, the stream set up.
yeah, he hovered. You know, can't do anything about that. That was sketchy. Yoink, 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 bonk. Yeah, I saw that coming. Alright. Seeing as we're in a secret level, I think I figured out the secret. Oh? What do you think? What do you think, Pikachu? You got a guess?
Are you gonna tell them if they guess correctly?
Nope.
Okay.
You don't say it out loud? Okay. No, Pikachu is pretty
just
clever.
DM him. Yeah.
DM you? Yeah, that'll work.
Slide into his DMs.
Oh, I should have hit save and quit. That's fine. Anyway. But I guess that works because we do have to head out anyway, but
Yeah.
oof.
We might actually make 6:30 now.
Yeah.
There you go. Change it. Put on real pants.
Good thing I have multiple files.
Off.
Oh, wait. Hit. You might not be prepared for this. I'm going to hit the letter R really quick for you.
Do it really quick.
Yeah. Or actually, before you do.
I don't know which one.
I know. Yeah, hang on. Before you do, I need to look at. I think it's Bianco 3 that I did slightly too early. I'll make it like a 140. Just to remind me. But yeah, hit R.
R.
Oh,
R.
there you go. Okay, ready?
Yes. What was that?
That was Sora dying from Kingdom Hearts 1.
I was not ready for that. My goodness.
I think it's a great. I think that's a great way to. I had to go through like a handful of YouTube videos to find just like one that was actually good enough video quality for that soundbite. Oh!
That's funny.
Send you a Twitch message? Alright, I'll check it out in a bit. Alright. You
got
killed
this.
Sora. I did. I did. That's my reset sound effect, which is amazing. Alright, so this is the last level of the game. It's Corona Mountain, and it is quite difficult in Hoverless. Because you only have so much time to do everything. And then you have to get a spin jump, or you can't make that. So, thanks, controller.
Rough.
Yup. But it's funny, once you actually get onto that platform there, it's fine. You don't have to, like, be so rushed or pressured. But until you get to there, you just better hope you get it. If you're too early, you're going to hit the spikes and go right into the lava. If you're too late, you get spiked. So, you know. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. But now that I'm here, I can just chill. Just wait a little bit. Try out some water. Do a side flip dive. Try some water. Side flip dive. Side flip dive. Water. Dive. Yoink. Like, once you get past that first spot, it's literally just like normal. Except for, you know, the really, really crappy boat that they make you use. If you could just stop at that, thanks, I'd appreciate it. Almost. Yep, almost. Just gotta get this boat over to Bowser. This is actually, funny enough, this is probably the quickest I've gotten to here during the run and or on stream, so kind of disappointing, but also, who knows, probably wouldn't have been like this anyway.
That's alright.
So now we do something called rocket storage. Yep. I just reset that one. Oh, and I could skip the cutscene because I've already beaten the game with this file. Nice. Oh my god, thanks game. Take a goofy bounce. Yep. Didn't want that one. Yo, it's McGee, what's up? Hope you're doing well. This is my brother. Hey. Visiting for the holiday season. Oh god.
There's one more. Please.
Yoink. Alright. Oh well. Oh well. Alright, let me check that.
Alright. Personal best! Nice.
Pikachu, you are indeed correct. That is exactly what it is. Hanging in there. Sometimes it do be like that.
Man.
It do be like
That's
that.
rough.
Where
That's
was
rough.
this 138? Yeah, I'm gonna make that 140. Just because I'm pretty sure I split a little early. The rest of them should still be good as far as golds go.
That's alright. Great job, man.
Alright, so almost got a run done. Not
Yep.
quite, but almost. Let me see, who is on right now? Oh, wait, actually, let me see. Bump, 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 bump.
Oh, it froze.
Nah, well, I paused it. Don't
Oh.
worry, it's still going. You know what? Why not? Let's do it. What day is today?
Today's Tuesday.
What time? Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'll comment for a bit because we should have time, but then I'll have to come back.
Are we still on camera?
Yeah. No, we're still on camera, but I just wanted to.
Junior,
Alright.
I've got some.
Looks like you tuned in right at the end. You did. I goofed on the run, and then also we had to go do stuff and things. Excuse me, sorry. We are gonna go raid Cool Cat Gang. They are doing. Looks like Seba54 versus Cake Belly of the 70-star Open Emulator Division right now. My team. We're gonna go say hi. Gonna give you guys some more of that Mario action, but that is gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed meeting my brother today. I hope you enjoyed being
Oh,
here.
yeah, dude, it was a blast. It's great to meet you guys all.
We're gonna hit him up with an arcade raid. I can't reach over to the keyboard
Oh, I'm
because
sorry. Here, do you want
Nah,
me to do it? How do I
nah.
do it?
don't worry about it. But yeah, we're gonna give the chat an arcade raid. That'll be the raid message. You can use my emotes or any other emotes. But that is going to be it for us today. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Take care, y'all.
Doodles!